War with Iran. Reportedly, around a third of the U.S. Navy is being deployed to the region. Donald Trump has called on the U.K. not to give some land back because it seems like we're going to be using that for war, perhaps. And I'm going to say it like this. You know, we're decently connected here at Timcast IRL. And the messages that I'm hearing behind the scenes, nothing definitive, but it's very much like, yeah, the war is going to happen. And so, again, could be wrong because there's Beltway scuttlebutt down here in, D.C. area. But it's sounding very much like we are about to go to war with Iran. You've got numerous corporate news outlets saying Donald Trump is prepared to strike Iran as early as this weekend, but he has not made a final call. There's alleged leaks happening on 4chan, probably fake because it's the internet, but they're saying the plan is for a joint U.S.-Israeli strike taking out all of their top leadership. And my speculation on this is it may be a psyop. Indeed. The posturing in the media and these alleged leaked statements may be just to terrify Iran into cutting a deal, saying, hey, look, everybody's saying Trump's going to do it. It's leaking. Uh-oh, here it comes. And then maybe they cave and surrender before we actually have to go to war. But based on the deployments that we are seeing with refueling tankers, troops getting called in, and they're pulling troops out of Syria, looks like Trump means business. And so this is going to be absolutely massive. Aside from that, we got massive news. The SAVE Act has reached 50 votes in the Senate. They got the votes only if they get rid of the filibuster. And as you all know, they won't. So it's funny because the SAVE Act, which would massively aid and benefit this country, and literally everyone agrees with, from Democrat, Independent, Republican, for some reason, they still won't pass it. Your guess is as good as mine. And our guesses are probably spot on because, Democrats probably just want people to be able to vote without proving who they are. More importantly, to ballot harvest universal mail-in votes. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. Before we do, my friends, we got a great sponsor. It is Beam Dream. Check out shopbeam.com/TimPool to get to 35% off your nighttime sleep blend to support better sleep. I absolutely love this stuff. I drink it every single night. They got a bunch of different flavors. I got cinnamon cocoa, sea salt caramel, brownie batter. I'm a big fan of the cinnamon cocoa. It's my favorite, but I've been drinking the sea salt caramel one. It's got magnesium. It's got L-theanine. It's got reishi. It's got melatonin. I drink it before bed. It's a cup of hot cocoa. Oh, it's caramel. I guess hot caramel. And it's about 15 calories, no added sugar. No joke. I do drink it every night before bed, and it is absolutely amazing. My sleep has dramatically improved. I've actually been getting such good sleep. My sleep has started to reduce. Like, no joke. I was sleeping for like 7.5 hours. Now I'm just naturally waking up a little earlier, and my sleep score is still maxed out. This stuff is great. And if you're a guy, it's important because your testosterone and HGH are produced in the body during REM and deep sleep. So if you're sleeping poorly, it's negatively impacting your weight, your energy, your mood. So I'm a big fan. Check out shopbeam.com/TimPool. And major news, if you're trying not to sleep, you're trying to wake up, castbrew.com. For the Cast Brew Vault Black Cold Brew Concentrate. It is here, my friends. Check this out. We've got multi-serve glass bottles. There's only 372. It's a small run for now because we're just launching this product. It is a cold brew concentrate. Basically, you get one of these bottles, you mix a little bit into a cup with some water to taste, little cream if you want. It is sweetened a little bit. And so we got samples of this a little while ago. I'm a huge fan. And, we've been trying to figure out how to do a ready-to-drink, version of Cast Brew for a while. And we still haven't quite gotten there because this is a concentrate, meaning you do want to mix it with water, maybe milk, however you want to do it. But you can check out the new Cast Brew Vault Black. Get it while you can at castbrew.com because we only have 372 available, and it's going to go quick. Don't forget to also smash that like button, my friends. Subscribe to this channel. And if you really do like the show, please share the URL right now to the show everywhere you can. If you're listening on the audio podcast, please leave us a really good review, 5 stars, and tell your friends about it. Word of mouth really, really helps, and sharing really helps. And, joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more, we've got Amber Duke.
Hey, guys, I'm Amber Duke. I'm the senior editor for the Daily Caller. You can find me on X at Amber Marie Duke. Every Friday, I'm on Rising at the Hill, and I'm also on State of the Day on Substack.
Right on.
What is going on, Patriots? This is Tate Brown here holding it down. I'm super excited. I'm excited to be on with you, Amber, because I think we've exchanged some hot takes over the past couple months on my show, which you can watch at noon live on Timcast Rumble channel. And I'm excited to get into everything. Phil?
Let me strip this from Phil. It's my turn. Hi, Phil.
Good.
I want to shout out the Discord. If you haven't been over there, we do the Discord pre-show where we get in there and get interviewed by the cast of, well, it's like the cast of the pre-show. It's very cool. So come join the early shows at Discord, 6:30 p.m. in the Timcast Discord. I'm at Ian Crossland. If you don't know, Phil Labonte.
Hello, everybody. My name is Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and counter-revolutionary. Carter?
What's up, everyone? Carter here, still mastering the stream deck and everything here, but holding it down as well. Let's get into it.
I also have big news. We, for no reason, have Ready to Laugh track. Because not that anyone needs to know when to laugh, but it actually is funny to play it at inappropriate times. So, like, we'll save it for the uncensored portion of the show, most likely. But anywhere that needs a little levity, we're going to make weird noises. I'm actually half kidding. I don't even know why we have it, but maybe it'll be funny. All right, let's jump into the story from CNN. U.S. military prepared to strike Iran as early as this weekend, but Trump has yet to make a final call, sources say. CNN reporting the U.S. military is prepared to strike Iran as early as this weekend. The White House has been briefed. The military could be ready for an attack by the weekend after a significant buildup in recent days of air and naval assets in the Middle East, the sources said. But one source cautioned that Trump has privately argued both for and against military action and polled advisors and allies on what the best course of action is. It was not clear if he would make a decision by this weekend. He is spending a lot of time thinking about this. So I'm hearing from Beltway Scuttlebutt, people who work in D.C., we had a lot of friends there. Trump's ready to push the button. And Trump wants to push the button. It doesn't mean he will push the button. But I'm hearing that he very much is ready to just do it. He wants to do it. And I think he's actually being held back. I think there are some advisors that are basically saying just give it some time and maybe the pressure will force Iran to cut a deal of some sort. I don't think a deal is going to happen. I think when you put an estimated 1/3 of your naval forces just outside their country, you're basically just ready to swing, take a punch. But I don't know what you're hearing down in D.C., Amber.
Well, I actually saw a Facebook post today from a woman that I'm friends with on Facebook, and her husband is in the military. And she just laid this all out for us, which is super helpful. I don't think she realized what she was doing, but her husband was originally supposed to be deployed about a month from now. And she posted today that her husband was called in without official orders on Monday. And so they're freaking out because they wanted to plan for this deployment. But reading the tea leaves, why else would this guy be called in, right, with no advance notice?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, what the goal is. I mean, I assume that it's going to be regime change. The former Shah, I guess, is ready to take over or what have you. A lot of people are saying that this is going to be, Iraq War 3 or what have you. I think it's a different animal. Not that I'm pro regime change in Iran, but like Iran is a very different place.
Well, I was for the longest time anti-intervention, but my mind was changed when Lib Hero America 439 on X sent a tweet to me of a Trump supporter looking sad with a bunch of ribbons saying "Fell for it again" award, and it bruised my ego. Yep. So I didn't fall for it. I want the war. I'm for the war. So now I'm for the war.
That's me, but unironically. I'm a plan trust.
No, I don't think this will be Iraq or Afghanistan 2.0 if we do go in. I do not support the U.S. intervening in this capacity. I'm not an absolutist. I think it's stupid to be like the U.S. should never for any reason. No, sometimes there are reasons. I do think, however, if Trump does go in, we have already seen with Venezuela, Trump does not operate like we in the past 20 years. And just because we had these abysmal failures 20 some odd years ago doesn't mean military operations will be the same today. And I think it's fair to say many neocons, despite what I can criticize these guys for, have pointed out that we as a generation are traumatized by the failures of the Bush era foreign policy. Yep. And it doesn't mean every intervention all the time will be bad. That being said, my deeper concerns are they have not justified to us there's no justification as to why we should engage in a joint military strike to flatten the Iranian regime. I certainly understand the protests are really bad. The people have been pissed at their government for some time. Iran's funding a bunch of terror. But for a full-scale knockout regime change, I think they would need to come out. Trump would need to make an address to the nation, and he would need to explain the serious risks of this country to justify it. I don't agree with what we've seen so far, this massive buildup, because I read the news all day, every day, and all I've seen is, yes, it's bad in the Middle East. Yes, Iran is engaging in the funding of enemies and things like this, but it's played off like status quo, not like imminent threats.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a couple things here. I mean, for one, I've always had this frustration as a Zoomer, is because in the same way that millennials would always talk about how boomers would always equate everything to World War II, I feel like millennials always equate things to GWAT because that was the environment that millennials sort of like became politically aware in. And so I get a little frustrated because I'm like, clearly the Trump administration operates, like to Tim's point, operates much differently than previous administrations when it comes to how they handle affairs, how they handle geopolitical affairs and these sorts of things. So, I mean, I'm very skeptical to speak of Quagmire. Two, the second point is I'm not even sure if regime change is the victory condition for Trump and co here because they've said that it's the nuclear program. That's their main concern. And so I think if we were to go back in, it would be strikes on the nuclear program.
No way.
Fully decimated. Well, and then the third point here is Trump a month or two ago made the statement that if they touch protesters, if they start harming protesters, we will go in. That is a very hard stance that you cannot back down.
No, I reject that outright because Canada is killing its own citizens right now with MAID. I mean,
they just
I
killed
agree.
A 26-year-old with depression.
Yeah,
exactly.
I agree.
Exactly. So this idea that it's like, oh, but the protesters in Iran, oh, please. They are in Canada, the MAID program, medical assistance in dying, is killing young people simply for being depressed. And according to the family in this story, which we could probably get into later, but she said that she believes the doctor instructed her son on how to deteriorate his body so that he could qualify. So when the doctor says to you, "You're too healthy for us to kill you. Stop eating and start dying, and then maybe we can get you qualified." So anyway, not to jump into that story, the idea that we care about the protesters,
I agree,
that's nonsense. And I definitely don't think the win condition is the nuclear program. Absolutely not. I think the nuclear program is a concern, but a psychotic fundamentalist regime is the principal concern. And there's two main factors there. They fund fanatics and extremists in the region, and that's a problem for trade in the Red Sea through the Suez Canal. So we want that to stop. And more importantly, through this, they oppose the liberal economic order and the petrodollar. Now that I'm not persuaded by, this argument that everybody should operate under the quote-unquote AOC's rules-based order of the United States. But the principal reasons why the U.S. wants to take down Iran and their government is because they're not playing ball with the IMF, the petrodollar, the SWIFT payment system, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, the reason I'm skeptical that the victory condition for the United States here is regime change is, I mean, A, just what the Trump administration has said, and then obviously what happened last summer. But then B, the Trump administration and kind of this philosophy of this, I guess you would call it like the new right or something along those lines, is that they believe that the Middle East is naturally liberalizing anyway. This is why they're building out the Abraham Accords, is they're banking on the fact that these countries are liberalizing, they're becoming more friendly towards the West. So I think in the back of the heads of a lot of these decision makers and the Trump administration is they're thinking like, hey, on a long enough timeline, Iran is liberalizing. If you go on YouTube and you type in nightlife in Tehran and you see people walking around with a camera in Tehran, women aren't wearing headscarves. They're having parties. They're again, it's not quite New York City, but it definitely doesn't seem like this fundamentalist Islamic regime like the Ayatollah sort of portrays themselves as.
Wouldn't you say that taking out the existing regime does benefit the Abraham Accords and the other Gulf states? Because you know that the Saudis don't like Iran any more than anyone else does.
Obviously toppling it is beneficial for the Abraham Accords, but I'm just saying that I think they're under the impression that the Ayatollah is on borrowed time anyway, and so there's not really much sense in sort of allocating all these resources, having a potential quagmire, when instead they just eliminate the problem of the nuclear program and then continue business as usual.
What do you guys think the chances of this operation, if this whatever it turns into, being something along the lines of what the Venezuela operation was?
I mean, I think
yes, but more.
Last summer. Yeah,
it'd have to be more.
In order for the U.S. to take out the Iranian military, they're going to need some serious bombs.
They probably got people inside the Iranian government about to flip. they have what they're doing now is called gunboat diplomacy. They started in like the 1800s, where they'll just sail up on your shore and be like, "Be a shame if you didn't bow down to our diplomacy." And you're like, "Oh God, okay, yes." Ideally, you don't have to fire a shot, but I think, it's just obvious. I think there's no other mission than regime change. I can't see any other mission than regime change, and they want to secure the Middle East to set up the liberal economic trade order. The Iranian government's been openly hostile. And I mean, then on top of that, now they just got to convince the world that it's in good faith. It's a good faith.
I'm not so sure convincing the world is something that the U.S. is really concerned with anymore.
Yeah.
They didn't really convince us on Venezuela.
Yeah.
Right.
That's my point.
Yeah,
Like,
they don't care about that.
Nowadays,
Trump would have been more convincing if he was like, Maduro rigged the U.S. election, so I'm going in, and at least that would have been some reason.
Yeah, like,
but I mean,
out of good faith is saying it's about the protesters, for instance.
Well, I mean,
how bad the theocracy is.
Well, it's the opposite.
But the stuff that Tim says, like Mike makes, right? That's really kind of the world that we live in. That's the way that it is, and Trump is just, has just dropped all pretense, right? Like, he doesn't pretend that it's some kind of agreement or whatever. Essentially, if you've got the power to do something and it's in your benefit, then we're just going to go do it.
Well, he's trying to rebuild our position in the world as the world's police, because after the Afghanistan withdrawal and then like Ukraine breaking down, everything happening under the Biden administration's nose, the way the world viewed the United States during that period was that we're actually in many ways insufficient as the world's police. So Trump is trying to stitch together that vision again for the world. He's not really concerned with like how the world, like what their opinion is on our actions, and nor should we really care.
No, I don't think so.
That's an in-house discussion over whether or not we should intervene in Venezuela, whether or not we should intervene in Iran. I don't really care what like China has to say about this, or I don't even really care about what the Europeans have to say, quite frankly, because it's our affairs. It's an in-house discussion. But all this to say, I mean, I'm not thrilled about any sort of intervention in Iran either. But again, if you look at what happened last summer, it went quite well. We do know that Ayatollah, like, he's a saber wagger. He just tweets all day, but he doesn't actually really back it up. I could see a situation where they just maximize pressure and then cut a deal with him and he leaves. I mean, that's actually like a pretty realistic scenario here.
Right. Well, one of the theories that I see here is that all of this blustering in the press and the scuttlebutt in D.C. is just to create buzz that we're going to blow them up. They're going to hear it.
Yeah, well,
their top intel guys are going to go to the supreme leader, and they're going to be like, the entire U.S. media is saying Trump's about to press the button.
Yeah.
And then he's going to be like, I surrender.
Well, he also, like, something really important that a lot of people are missing is they saw what happened in Venezuela. They saw that Russia, and then by extension China, did not really do anything to back them up. Granted, obviously it's a lot closer, so it would be easier to back them up. But they had assets. They had assets in and around the area. Like, they could have stepped in if they really wanted to, if they really deemed Venezuela as like a truly untouchable asset. Again, that's in our hemisphere, so it's a little bit different. But Iran is having this conversation internally where they're like, we can't necessarily depend on the Russians here. We certainly can't depend on the Chinese. So there could be a situation where we just continue cranking up the pressure, where they just say, I'm going to cut a deal. I'm going to fly to Moscow and get this over with.
Both China and Russia can say whatever they want about, the U.S. shouldn't do that, this or that, but they know that they can't attack U.S. assets. Like, Russia can't attack U.S. assets. There's no way they would do that, because that they wouldn't want to risk an actual conflict with the United States.
Well, Russia has they still would have some tools available in Europe where, like, okay, they could start ripping apart some of these energy supplies, these sorts of things. They could really take the gloves off in Ukraine if they really wanted to, and that would cause some problems for America. That would force our hand again. So it's like Russia does have options, and then they could also directly support Iran. But I don't know if Iran should depend on that.
Let's jump to this story. We have a tweet here from Mr. Obvious. Breaking: the hacker known as 4chan has announced the U.S. is going to be launching a military strike on Iran. It turns out Venezuela was a test run. If this is true, it'll jumpstart World War III and the U.S. economy and cause a total ish storm. Be advised, we are going to war. Now, we don't know if this is true or not, this post, because, hey, it's the internet. But someone on, I believe, 4chan said, I posted yesterday with a 36-hour timeline. We are now in the 24-hour window. Look for a significant number of Iranian leadership to be exterminated. The leadership of Iran is made up of a secret council of 22 military and political leaders who meet regularly in a bunker in Tehran. One of their members is a Mossad agent. Needless to say, this group goes first. Israel knows after the last few years, this is the time to end this issue, and tactical nukes will take out most of Iran's missile infrastructure in the first strike. Tehran will go in the first wave with a false flag attack set up for Israel to kick things off. Cheers. He added, or I believe this was the first statement, Venezuela was a test for what is happening in Iran. A large part of the Iranian military and leadership will be vaporized in the opening salvos. Israel will use tactical nukes to take out Iranian missiles and their bases. We're about T minus 3 days now. I want to say real quick, skepticism. The use of tactical nukes is a bold statement.
Yeah. Well, this does sort of align with what I was thinking. Is that we're also at the precipice of, we're at this time in history where the United States has weapons that the rest of the world doesn't have. Just insane vibration tech that makes people piss their pants and die. And in 10 years, the rest of the world will have it. And they know that. So they need to use it if they're going to. That's the thinking of these military guys, is we need to use it while we have the technology.
Wait. But Ian, that's 10 years old, bro. That's 20 years old. These conversations around, say, like ULF generators, so this is crazy. What we heard in Venezuela is that apparently one of these collectivos reported that there was like a boom, and then all of a sudden they all became violently ill. And that is in line with the conspiracy theories about what's called an ultra-low frequency generator. Basically that the ultra-low frequencies can cause you to feel sick instantly, and the government has weaponized a very powerful low-frequency pulse to disable people. But that conversation was 20-some-odd years ago. My point is, while I do agree with you, maybe they're saying like we should use it now. The weapons the government has would probably blow your effing mind. When it comes to actual war, they're going to do things you didn't even imagine because you don't know about the weapons they got. Bro, let me tell you this, 10 years ago, heck, what is it, 26? This is 14 years ago. There was a Kickstarter for micro drones that fly like insects. We know that the U.S. government has tiny micro drones that can fly, very, very small. Bro, we're watching universities create liquid robots that can segment. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
It's the video. It's a really slow-moving gel, but it can split in two and then recombine. And they're like, we are programming the weirdest materials. So we know about the heart attack gun. You know about that one, right?
Yeah, that's a CIA. The church hearings revealed that.
And guys, the heart attack gun is not even a crazy thing to imagine. Basically, you shoot someone with a dart that's got some. I'm not going to describe exactly what, but they're
toxin. I mean,
no, not even toxins, bro. Oh. Not even toxins. Oh, let's just call it, without getting too much detail, potassium combination. Just that's it.
Yeah.
And then it causes a heart attack. And they've had this for 50 some odd years, longer probably. So my point is, if they want to go boots on the ground, they're going to be using probably conventional weapons on the surface. But the special weapons, man, you won't even know they happened.
Right.
I bet they can release tiny drones and they can just swarm them in and they'll take out leadership very easily.
Well, I mean, we saw where they literally just turned Caracas off. And
Exactly.
So it's like they have these. But to this, like with this post and then some of the rumors that I think all of us are hearing coming out of the Beltway, something we have to keep in mind here is in the lead up to the Venezuela operation and then the actual Venezuela operation itself, there was zero rumors. It was airtight. It just happened, and everyone was surprised. Even people at the top level of military intel were shocked that it happened.
Except Polymarket.
Sure, but it's like but that was because of like the fleet movements, which are impossible to hide. But it's like with this, all of a sudden there's rumors everywhere. Everyone's got scoops, this sort of thing. That just seems obvious to me that the Trump administration is trying to they're trying to build leverage here. They're trying to put pressure on the Iranians. So these are tactical leaks that are happening here because again, they have demonstrated with Venezuela that if they want to keep it airtight, they can.
I think that's probably true. On the human sources front, I expect that we probably have way more than we realize because we obviously had people in the Venezuelan regime who were helping the American government. But also recently, the CIA has been releasing a series of videos trying to convince CCP officials to leak to the United States. I don't know that they're doing those because they work, but to send a message to China that we have some of your guys. Yeah. And that's precisely why I think those leaks were coming out about certain Chinese officials being tossed out or executed or what have you, is that China was trying to send a counter signal. Well, this is what happens to you if you leak to the United States.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we saw the Iranians shake out a lot of, they weren't high level officials, but during the protests, these guys some of them are defecting. These are like more like ethnic related sort of blowups. But like the Iranians were starting to clean house a little bit. They were freaked out because again, a lot of intel was getting passed along to Western news outlets and no one knew how, no one knew.
Well, what really annoys me about the whole thing is it's so wishy-washy. They're like the propaganda machine has not given us clear messages as to what the establishment is trying to accomplish. Mm-hmm. The military-industrial complex. During the Bush era, it was if you defied the invasion, you are not on TV. They cut you off. Now, there is no defined narrative on what the establishment is trying to
I'll
do.
give it to you guys. Liberal economic order. Listen to me. This is what you guys are doing. You're avoiding World War III because you're going to set up a quadrupolar universe, quadrupolar world. There's going to be the liberal United States and Europe. There's going to be the Israeli bloc, the Russian bloc, and the Chinese bloc.
That's
Together,
war.
all 4 blocks will protect the planet. And we will lead
Oh
it.
yeah, that's right, because we trust the Chinese Communist Party, right?
So it's either that or World War III. That's what Martyr
Or a
May,
unipolar
Scott
world.
Horton, or a unipolar, which is just as bad. Could be just as bad because then
be.
you have the top-down control authority.
You know, if there's one thing I learned from Democrats, it's that the only thing that matters is that you maintain your order. And what I mean by that is if we believe in a functional, classically liberal society, then we must oppose by all means anyone who seeks to subvert it or destroy it. So if you are operating within the confines of a constitutional United States of America and you seek to operate within the confines of the Constitution and you debate on policy, we are good. But if you are a communist who is lying, cheating, and stealing to burn it all down, now we've got a problem and we have to stop that from happening.
What's happening, though, is that the government is changing from a liberal democracy, from a liberal democratic republic, to a technocratic system where de facto we say we got free speech, but a corporation can take away your bank account or mute your account, which it demeans your free speech in the modern technical era with electricity. We don't have horses and we don't need to send our representatives off to the Capitol one day. Maybe we'll hear back from you. Like, bro, this is a fast-moving, intelligent world now. So the technocracy, it's like, I think it's going to be kind of I want it to be a quadrupolar world where it's just going to be technocratic spy control, dude. It's going to be either you give us your information or we're going to spy on you and take it.
Brother, quadrupolar means 4 different powers. They're constantly going to be in flux and fighting with each other for more power.
Yes, limited skirmishes, ideally. That's what we've been doing
It's not
since
going
the
to
70s,
be, bro.
since the 50s.
It's not going to be limited. Never in
It has
history.
been since the 50s.
We've never seen a global balance. There's something called Thucydides' trap. We cite it ad nauseum.
Well, we got 80 years we've been at balance. I mean, limited.
You mean unipolar dominance?
The
The
balance.
Cold War that manifested in
seriously.
multiple hot conflicts.
And the only reason there was like quote unquote balance is because of the threat of nuclear weapons. Like it was totally because you didn't want to start a fight with either of the big boys. So they had the small proxy wars, but like the United States and Russia getting into any kind of significant conflict would be the end of modern society.
You might think with humans able to kill each other easier because we have airplanes and bigger weapons that it would have happened faster, but it's like driving on a road past someone. You don't want to hit the
no.
guy, just like real life.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
had the most peaceful era like in human history just because the magnitude of death is
Bro,
exorbitant. Yeah.
Sup?
mosquito drones.
Yeah.
Dude, you don't need that much of like a neurotoxin to take out a person. I guarantee you the U.S. government's got micro delivery methods.
They must sit
It's
around.
so easy.
They must be like, or probably they should be like, okay, if we use this, it's going to get used against us at some point. How ethical is this thing to unleash?
No.
You don't
That's not the way the weapons race for weapons works. They're saying it's going to happen no matter what. Like the Cold War, the arms race was they're building nukes no matter what we do. It's not that if we use it, they might then do it later. It's they have it now and they might use it now. And bro, you know about the story where the Russian sub guy almost launched a nuke, right?
Yeah. Oh gosh, that guy. What was his name?
Wasn't it like they didn't know if it was a false alarm, so he decided not to fire, and his protocol was to.
Yeah.
And then it would have been it. It would have been it. And then there's the other story, interesting, that we were going to launch when a UFO appeared and shut down our nuclear weapons. You ever hear that one?
No, but we should talk about it.
Wasn't there an official under Kim Jong-un that was killed by a toxin in an airport? Like a woman wiped his face.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then he
I
just
think that was
dropped
like
dead.
someone related in his line of lineage.
I,
That
uh,
wasn't that long ago.
This was uncle, right?
I knew
like that.
I knew a guy a long time ago, and he told me, a young college guy when I was like in my early 20s, and he said, terrorism doesn't exist. I don't believe it. And obviously, some crazy guy might, plant a bomb or something, but he was like, no, like actual planned terror doesn't exist. Because he worked at a university in California in laboratory conditions. And he said that they have chemicals that are cheap, easily obtained, and if you touch a certain amount, you die. And he was like, I don't believe that, when they say all this stuff is real, it actually is. Because if someone really wanted to terrorize somebody, there are powders that you can sprinkle in public and then people would just start dropping dead. And it's like for $20. nobody does this stuff. He's like, I don't actually think people want to do these things. You know, the argument being that terrorism is intended to create shock and awe, not actually kill people.
Yeah, generally people don't want to fight ever. I mean, even though
Yeah, they want to eat chicken wings and sit down and watch sports.
yeah, they had the Christmas truce in World War I where they got out of the trenches, both the Germans and the French, and they were like singing together. And then it was the commanders were like, you have to fight them or we're going to kill you. And so they were like, well, all right, back to war. But nobody really wanted that.
Kim Jong-nam, the estranged brother of North Korean leader, that's my prediction.
Killed.
Died February 13th after two women wiped his face with the VX nerve agent at Kuala Lumpur International Airport in Malaysia. He died in 15 to 20 minutes.
I don't know what it is with the East Asians, but they love using like
No.
Because like in Tokyo, they had the sarin attack in the 90s, and they just killed with sarin gas.
This really bothers me because you know what these women should have done? They should have worn the fake lips with the chemical on it and then kissed them, and then he drops dead, and then they peel it off like in a movie. What movie was that? Was that G.I. Joe or something?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, she
It's like Batman or something like that.
No. Batman was Poison Ivy. Just had magic.
yeah.
She had.
Because out in the West, we're like blowing each other up and everything, but out in the East Asia, they got these suave like
It's very
gases. and-
sophisticated.
yeah, they're getting really
Take a look at
technical.
East Asian martial arts and weapons compared to like the Europeans.
Right.
Europeans were more like larger strategy, and Asians were like the craziest techniques.
Subterfuge.
Well, because there was another one. It was another one of Kim Jong Un's enemies, and they strapped him to a chain gun, wasn't it? They strapped him to the outside of a chain gun and like fired through him and cut him in half. It was another one of another one of his enemies.
I was thinking about Kim Jong-un, man, when he was like 12, they're like, bro, your uncle's going to have you killed. He's going to kill you if you don't have him killed. You need to issue the order. And he's like 12, and his dad's friends are like advising him. He's like, all right, okay.
Goblin King, bro.
They go all in out there, and they don't play around.
All right, guys.
Half measures.
We have to do this. I got to tell you right now. Did you know that The Simpsons predicted this very moment? I'm going to play you for this clip because Simpsons predicted everything. Listen to this.
Can we get rid of this Ayatollah t-shirt? Khomeini died years ago.
Did he?
Marge, it works on any Ayatollah. Ayatollah Nakbada, Ayatollah Zahedi. Even as we speak, Ayatollah Razmara and his cadre of fanatics are consolidating their power.
I don't care who's consolidating their power.
So they didn't actually predict it, but this clip is hilarious because it kind of shows you that this Iran thing has been going on for a very, very, very long time. But I do love that opening line where she's like, Khomeini died years ago.
Ayatollah t-shirt. Khomeini died years ago.
And now we have another Khomeini.
Yep.
It's Khomeini instead of Khomeini.
Yeah.
You know, there's one letter difference.
Yep.
Like that.
It is interesting. He's always like crashing out on Twitter. Like anytime the Americans put a little pressure on him, he just starts freaking out and firing tweets off.
He's talking about touching the boats again. It's a
Yeah.
bad idea to touch the boats.
I know. I'm like, this
Bad
is
idea.
just, you know, this,
Why do we allow him to have a Twitter? I mean, could the military-industrial complex just like commandeer his X account and have him post like, I think you should all die, you Americans, and plus Epstein was our friend or something, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, just put Khomeini in the Epstein files and then get war. Actually, hold on. This is why I have questions about the military-industrial complex right now, because the perfect opportunity to evade Iran was to have information come out in the files that Epstein worked for Iran. I'm not saying literally, I'm legitimately. I'm saying if the military-industrial complex wanted to propagandize and get Americans support war, all I had to do.
But we know it would be fake because you have these old posts from the Ayatollah on his Twitter from like 2013 where he was like yearning. He was like, a woman is like a beautiful flower. And he had all these like weird tweets back then. He had another one where he's like tweeting about how great books are. And he's like, I just really like books a lot. Like, because every time you pluck away a petal, it's like and it was like these really thoughtful like yearn posts. And I was like, we would know if he was on the Epstein list, it's wrong.
He was listening
I
to
do-
too much
True
Ebo.
lover.
I do remember back when a lot of the social media censorship was happening around 2016, that one of the common arguments from conservatives was like, how can you ban Alex Jones, but Khomeini's allowed to have an X account or Twitter account?
I think that is just because Elon Musk wants to troll him.
Oh, also, you can hack his account once we go to war and then make it look like he's surrendering. I didn't want to give it away, but hopefully our guys hear it. And
You know
your
how
guys don't.
mad you must be if you're Iranian, like if you're Iranian right now, because your country's under threat, like potential regime change. You can see the entirety of your government system fall apart, and the Khomeini's like engagement farming on Twitter right now. He's like trying to build up his Twitter. It's like,
Start my GoFundMe. Gonna be
Shit
out
to
of
get
stock.
invaded. Yeah, and he's out here just like
Follow me
firing
on
off.
Substack.
He's just like threatening to like kill us.
just
Like, on Twitter. It's like, dude, relax. Yeah, he's gonna make a sub.
He's like, I want to tweet my way through it. Just
making tick. Yeah, dude, that's a good lesson for everyone. If you're you're going through something in life, like don't actually address it, just tweet through it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's very true. Like going through
It'll
a
never
divorce.
be more
just start tweeting.
searchable than right now.
Yeah, get some good stuff for discovery. It'd be good.
Like the amount of I've learned about the dirtiness of the rest of the world. Like to be on the bad side of the liberal economic order is so horrifying. Like to just kind of join the empire and play along.
You get a Twitter. Like if Kim Jong Un had a Twitter, how awesome is
It's
that?
the least worst system.
Just gas my brother.
I've never seen a better system than the liberal economic order, even though it's brutal to the people
Just
at the end.
poison
of
my
the
brother.
beat
Hashtag Family Feud.
It's there is no better system.
Yeah,
you know.
so far advanced from all the other systems so far in human
You
history.
got a good system.
Wait, guys, I have a poll up on the show. Yes, war with Iran, or no more wars, and war with Iran is at 51%. So I'm
shocking,
gonna side with the audience then,
Yeah.
because I believe whatever the people believe,
Yeah.
and the people believe
You're a
in
true
war.
populist, Tim.
That's right.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and I've decided that
Boots
one of the
on the
most
ground and
effective
everything.
ways to boost your live audience is to mispronounce words.
Nectity.
Bro, that Ben Shapiro tweet was off the rails.
Yeah, it was.
What was it?
You didn't see the Ben Shapiro tweet about Candace Owens? I showed my wife, and she was like, "I can't believe Ben did that," and we were just laughing.
No, I think I glanced.
He called her a retard. Yeah, wow.
Because she accused him of wanting to use the hard R.
Oh, and he became hard
Yeah.
with many R's.
You know, sometimes you have to
Dude, the state of American politics is retarded.
It's ridiculous.
It's so bad.
I mean, on top of the fact that, as Tate, you pointed this out earlier, not on the show, but you were like, the state of commentary is a streamer reacting to a streamer commenting on a streamer.
Yeah, it was Sneeko reacting to Hassan Piker, reacting to Clavicular on Adam Friedland's show. So
And
it's
then,
4 levels of influencer.
Somebody there was a post about Asmongold because he was commenting on something from Destiny, who was commenting on something from Hassan, and so it was like 6 layers of streamer commentary.
Yeah.
And then it was like the comment was something like cultural commentary in the multiverse.
Stream
That's what we should do. We should pull up Sneeko's stream and then like react. So we add a 5th layer to it, and then we just keep going. Someone else will grab it.
Do a live show reacting. You know what I should do? Just turn on Hassan Piker's live stream and live stream his live stream and just react to it.
Then he's reacting to us, and it's
Yeah.
just, everyone's 5
My
seconds
favorite
off.
thing
But
is
then whoever has the delay wins.
Yeah, exactly.
We used to do video responses in YouTube 2006 and 7. You could directly link to their, so
Yeah.
on the video would show like this. I would respond directly to people and just talk to them and just emasculate people to
was
get popular. It was kind of a dick.
20 years
So
ago.
what happens?
You gotta dominate them. It's
Now the
domination.
tech
Hold
has
on.
evolved so that you can put their video in your video so that people have context for the response, but people talk about each other instead of to each other. It's a great evolution. You need to really go at you know, when you're talking to someone.
I just want you to imagine that it's like 1996 and you got a CD player. And then, this old guy's going like, bro, we used to have 8 tracks, man. Like we'd put them in, and in order to get you got to flip it over in order to actually hear the other song. And then because you couldn't rewind, and you're just going like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, but it's like we used to sit in the room and actually play games together. We used to talk to each other with video responses.
Isn't it
Sounds
crazy that
awful.
Ian was 37 in 2006?
It was 27. In 26. It was Phil. It was more
Wait,
effective
what, you were
because
26?
it was direct. Even though there was that break of time, they weren't talking about each other. It was really people were changing in real time because you had to defend yourself. People would talk right at you, and more people would watch the guy talking at you, and you're like, well, I better fucking
Ian.
speak up for myself.
Ian, I want you to eat this.
What is it?
I want you to eat this pill.
I don't know what it is, dude.
There you go.
No, it's
What
like,
is
what
that?
happened to Kim Jong Un's?
Come on, he's not going to give
it's
you any
kimchi.
poisonous.
Smells good.
It's kimchi. No, it's kimchi. Actually, is there garlic in it?
Squirrel.
I don't know.
Take
I
the
gotta-
Yes, there
Take
is.
the Korean
There
guy's
is.
pill. That has a good track. Great track.
A Korean man just offered you powdered capsuled kimchi.
Yeah.
That's what I do because
Actually,
I actually do have a thing of kimchi from
I
one
got to
of
go
my
get some
sponsors.
water to take this.
He's actually taking.
Locking in.
He's locking in.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Oh man. Yeah, the current state of politics is funny because we're actually about to go to war. It's going to cost us billions of dollars.
We got a laugh track tonight.
Yeah. Hey, you know what I just heard? We're going to invade Iran.
I agree with you, dude. Not about that. Oh, geez, maybe I do. Is that the state of politics is a muddled mess? Do you guys get that? Because when you're in it, it's hard to tell. But the world's trying to get us to go crazy on each other right
Just
now.
look at the fact that you've got the SAVE Act, right? 75% of Democrats, 90% of Republicans, and the Senate won't pass it.
You know what I learned
Change the rules.
from watching Big Bang Theory is that you don't actually need jokes in order to be funny. You just need to say something with some kind of inflection and then play a laugh track.
Right. Works.
So the response would be like, "Did you guys hear? We're going to go to war with Iran." And then it's just now everyone's laughing at
What's
home.
the deal with Iran? What about I walk?
But you don't actually have to say it like
laugh
that.
track and you're good.
Yeah, you know what's really funny is that that's annoying to me.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld.
It just is.
It's like he's stroking out.
Tim Pool. It sounds
But
like
everyone loved
the
it,
deep
dude.
end. That
It
was-
was like the biggest show ever when he was doing that.
I saw something on X today that they were saying that they initially the show didn't test well because it was too Jewish.
It was pretty Jewy in the very beginning.
Was it really just,
They were just
knocking back matzo balls?
I don't know if that's true, but
I don't believe that,
it's
dude.
funny.
in the early days. They were like
bagel
just
every episode.
bitching. Yeah, like
They're just like reverse mortgaging houses.
I
every
just
David,
schlepp all
man.
the way across New York
say
for my
that.
bagel.
Yeah, you just did.
I just did. So.
Kramer was tame. He scaled up his physical comedy, which made the show. And Elaine, when they got Elaine, she wasn't in the pilot, but when they got
Because
Elaine,
we never knew
she
if Elaine was Jewish or not, so that was kind of frustrating.
She was definitely Jewish.
Venice, that could be Hungarian.
Yeah, you know, George Costanza is based off Larry David.
Yeah.
That's who he's supposed to be.
Who is Jewish?
Very Jewish.
Infamously, yeah.
Infamously.
Very Jewish.
That's like, yeah, his whole thing is that he's like a disgruntled Jew.
Yeah.
This is why Iran wants to go to war with the United States. This is Larry David.
It's because of Seinfeld overall. They had all those Jews on.
You know, I met last year with Netanyahu, and the most offensive thing about it was that they wanted to convince me that we should go to war with Iran, but they never offered me $7,000.
Shameful.
Right.
You know how that
Shameful.
feels when it's like we expect you to do this for free, but other people get paid. It's like, hey, come on,
Yeah.
I have value.
I know.
You know,
I was really let down because, like, I think all the funny Jews came to America because then, like, every time you meet Israeli, they're just not really that funny. They're just like really obsessed about like, their future. Like, where's the humor? Like,
Mel
get the guy
Brooks.
was BB funny?
Mel
Like,
Brooks
cracking
is-
jokes.
Mel Brooks is.
no.
Yeah, so they sent all the funny ones here, and then the rest of them that weren't that funny, I guess, went to Israel. I don't know.
Something about the New York water.
There's some anthropology here. So there's gonna be a paper on this, I think.
New York's not doing too well.
No, New
We
York
have
is
a
not doing too
Muslim
well.
communist, and now what? Something happened in New York like overnight. No, for real, because there's videos of just feces everywhere.
Yeah.
And I lived in New York for 5 years. I never have seen anything like this.
Yeah.
And my thought is one of two things. One, like the city workers, once Mamdani got in, were like, screw him, I'm not doing work. Or it could be that there was a basic administrative function like flicking a switch that Mamdani didn't know to do. So in all seriousness, it could be like his administration gets in and they were unaware that the previous administration does some kind of remittance for, waste services on a certain date. And they didn't do it, so then the services didn't get done. But something happens where there's garbage piling up everywhere in New York, and there's feces everywhere in New York.
That was-
and now he's defunding the police.
Yeah, that was a question. That was a comment that I actually had a couple weeks ago or whatever. Like, you assume that the new administration still has all of the proper functioning branches of government, and just that Mamdani comes in and there would still be your normal services. I was blown away that he's actually managed to basically run the city into the ground so fast.
Well, no, what happened is Eric Adams, like the one thing you got to hand it to him, and I can say this, I was living in New York City, I saw the transition from de Blasio to Eric Adams. As Eric Adams, like the one thing he would always point to as like the dub of his mayoral like administration was that he actually like got the city quite clean. Like the rat population did decline quite extensively.
Yeah.
So when Mamdani came in, the first thing he did was undo every single executive order that Eric Adams had declared. And a lot of those executive orders related to sanitation, related to, again, extermination. So these sorts of things happen. You reverse that. Suddenly, all these city workers who were once tasked to sanitation are now tasked elsewhere. And that's why you're seeing this like massive
Let's
destruction of the city.
jump to this real quick from Fox News. Mamdani has proposed defunding the NYPD.
Hey, abolish the
Finally.
police.
It only took the guy claiming he did want to defund the NYPD, who then claimed during his campaign he didn't want to defund the NYPD, to get in so that he could defund the NYPD.
He was just
He's
looking for an
talking about
excuse.
canceling 5,000 new officer hires. Now, he's basically holding the city hostage, saying, guys, did you watch Mamdani's budget proposal? I died. This is you know why we had a laugh track today? We added a laugh track because I watched Mamdani say it's not fair that we pay 54.5% taxes to the state, but only get back 40%. To which my response is to Mayor Mamdani, from each according to their ability, to each according to their need. So for a communist to be like, why are they making me do more work but not giving me what I want, is just so absolutely ironic. It's not even a fire truck on fire. The fire truck has just melted into molten goop. That's how ironic it is. Now the dude is saying, if we don't tax the rich, by the way, 10% of the top earners have already fled the city. He says, if we don't tax the rich more, we're going to tax the middle and working class. And it's not my fault. In reality, what he's saying is, we know we can't tax the wealthy anymore because they're already fleeing.
Yep.
So we're framing this as though the taxes on you are because of them, which we predicted. Exactly what we had said. This is what Venezuela does. This is what the communists do. When their policies invariably fail, they say someone else did it to us. So now Mamdani is saying it's Hochul's fault. It's the state's fault that we have to raise your taxes. And people are going to get behind them because they're dumb.
Communists always say, oh, it's the capitalist's fault. When it's a communist country, they blame the United States. They blame the CIA. The same thing's going on in California. They say, oh, we're going to have this, what is it, the wealth tax they're talking about on billionaires. They lost over $1 trillion in tax revenue in the past couple months because they're like, oh, you're going to tax us? Well, then we're just going to leave. Businesses are moving out. This happens consistently. And one of the things with New York, there was a ton of people that have been all over X saying, oh, yeah, I thought that a bunch of people were going to move out. Oh, I thought a bunch of people were going to move out. And it's like, well, look at it now. There's a lot. How many? I didn't catch how much Tim said, but a lot of people have left.
Like 500,000 a year.
10% of the millionaires or something?
10% of the top earners, which includes like middle to high income people as well.
Yeah, just bailing because they have the resources to do it. The weather's not particularly great this time of year. They're like, all right, now's the time. Let's get out of here.
Maybe this is a play from Trump. Trump goes on TV and he's like, the economy is doing great. And then literally anybody who goes to the grocery store is like, yeah, that's not true. But maybe the play is this. New York's taxes are so high, you combine that. I mean, if you're a regular working class person, you're paying something like 13% to New York based on the state and city tax on top of your federal income tax. And so you've got $10 eggs and then you're losing half your money. You're going to be like, I got to move somewhere else. So maybe Trump is just strangling out these commies.
Well, it's funny because like the wealthiest of the wealthy, like the truly elite, like are pretty much untouched by any of these policies. Because you look at like how New York City operates fundamentally. Like look at the new, they call them like the toothpick towers by Central Park, Billionaires Row. Those are owned by like Saudis. They're owned by maybe Americans that have their wealth stored elsewhere. These sorts of things. Even Donald Trump, like Trump Tower, these sorts of things. He's like Mr. New York City. His residency is in Florida now. He's paying Florida taxes, but he still obviously has a huge in New York City. So it's like the top earners, those types of guys. That this doesn't affect them at all.
No, but hold on. There's no such thing as a top earner. I was hanging out in D.C. a couple weeks ago, and I was having an argument with these gentlemen who I said, people don't have as much money as you think they do. People think that Jeff Bezos can snap his finger and then build a skyscraper. That's only technically correct. I was like, Bezos makes something like, what does he get, like $1 million a year? He pays himself like $83,000 a month or something. So it just comes out to $1 million. Then with bonuses, he actually takes home only a couple million. His wealth is tied to his stock, which he can only sell in certain intervals. And I'm like, so the amount of money that guy probably has liquid is probably very, very little. And then most of his assets are going to be in some kind of either semi-liquid or hard asset. And these people don't believe it. They're like, no, man, that dude's a billionaire. He's probably got $100 million. And I'm like, that's insane to sit on cash like this.
Elon Musk is worth, what, $8.5 billion or $850 billion now. And he just said the other day that he's only got access to like $850 million.
Well, you also don't use your own money for building a building. You get a loan.
Yeah.
But this is the point.
Against their own.
All of it operates this way. Nobody is actually sitting on cash and able to spend this much money. So the thing is with New York City and these buildings, I'm going to tell you guys a secret. You want to know what the rich people do? Everyone talks about these loopholes. It's a loophole. They get a Delaware trust. They cost $5,000 per year to maintain. They dump a bunch of money into it. Now let's say the trust has got $10 million. The trust then buys a house for $1 million cash. A year later, the house is worth 1.5. They sell it. Now the trust is up $500,000 and does not pay taxes on it.
Crazy true.
Then they buy a new house for $2 million and they live in it. When they're done, they sell that house for $3 million, and the money goes to the trust, and they do not pay taxes on it.
So just clarifying.
Because the trust has the money has the way it works is that the money in the trust has never been realized. Trusts can make investments and sell and trade and do all these things, but until an individual extracts that, a beneficiary takes it out of the trust, they have not received a realized gain to pay taxes on. So most rich people just buy these Delaware trusts and say, I never made any money. The trust is making money, but that's just an investment. I've never realized those gains.
Yeah, well, I mean, you even see, like New York City, a great example of like how the elite function in New York City. Again, this is neither here nor there, but like look at NYU. Like NYU is the definition of like kind of this new elite, this new global elite in a lot of ways. And none of the kids at NYU, their families or them themselves are paying taxes in New York City. They live in they live in New York City. They have that New York City lifestyle, these sorts of things. None of them are paying any New York City taxes. All these taxes really affect the people that are actual business owners in New York City, these sorts of things. And then like to Amber's point, I mean, the way that these top guys like access wealth is they can just take leverage against their own assets, and then they can have access to like liquid capital instantly through that. Elon's an exception because he has a massive pay package now. So he's actually like a rare exception because he actually just decided to, again, extract a massive pay package out of Tesla. It's a trillion. I think he got his $1 trillion, or something approximating that. He got something very close, but he's an exception. Like you said, Bezos, these guys aren't.
When Elon tweeted out, "Money can't buy you happiness," I was actually surprised to see the man was so philosophically stunted. It's like, Elon, you've been rich forever, right? Certainly you understand more at this point. You don't need to be like, I've just realized, tweeting out money can't buy you happiness. It's like, dude, come on.
That's usually what like broke people. That's what I tell myself. I'm like, I don't need all that money.
He wrote a script. He wrote a script for Grok to tweet for him, and Grok did it.
I pictured him in his penthouse on top, literally on top of the world, well, figuratively on top of the world, overlooking the world. He's like, I have everything, and I'm not happy.
No, I'm pretty sure he lives in doesn't he live in like a little mobile or something?
He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't have an extravagant house.
Yeah,
I understand.
But
he was sleeping on someone's couch.
But there was a moment. That's what I was thinking. There was a moment where he was in extreme opulence and just like.
I don't think so. I think Elon's story has always been that he had like a decently good house, sold it, and then lived in like a mobile little camper.
Oh, maybe not his home. I mean, maybe he was at some party, standing up on top of like his own SpaceX party or something. And he's like,
Ian, Bill Gates famously wears gaudy clothing. There's a story of him going into a casino and putting $20 on blackjack and losing, going, well, I'm done. That guy's super rich too, but they don't live this way. Sure, to be fair, like they're on private jets, but people also don't understand private jets are fake. What I mean by that is when you see a video of an influencer on a private jet, that's fabricated. Flying on a private jet is uncomfortable. You don't got a lot of room, and there's no snacks, no food. And, I've been on some good jets where they could play a movie, but they really don't because it's an inconvenience. So you're really in a cramped space. The convenience of it is there's no security. You literally walk into what's called an FBO, a fixed base operator. They say, right this way. You get on this jet where you can't really stand up. Even the better ones, they're still kind of cramped. And then you fly. There's nothing. Maybe you're on a good one. You'll get internet. We've had internet a couple times. And then you land. It's not decadent. It's not opulent. It's just faster. For security purposes, it brings you closer to where you want to go. So if you're landing at an executive airport or an FBO, usually you can closer to your destination instead of having to land at an international or commercial airport and driving. My point is, people assume that Elon, as this ultra wealthy trillionaire, is like on his own private 757. That's probably not happening at all. Considering that it's hard for him to liquidate those resources that he owns in like Tesla and SpaceX, he only has access, like Phil was pointing out, like what, 800 million?
Yep, something like that.
And that's a lot, but that's not cash because no sane person is going to have that in cash. That makes no sense. So let me put it like this. I once flew in a private jet with a tech billionaire, and it was boring and uncomfortable and cramped. This guy literally, well, I don't want to call him a billionaire because he was actually just like a little bit below $1 billion. And he's like, here's my private jet. And I'm like, cool. Like, this is fun, but it's not opulent. Certainly opulence exists. Like Taylor Swift was flying on, what was she flying on? It was like a Learjet or something.
I think so. It was like a G4 or something.
Yeah, G4 maybe. And you actually get a bit of headroom, but you're still like most of these jets. It is not what people imagine. So what happens is they go on Instagram.
That nice, Ann.
It literally isn't
fast.
I just kidding. I can't relate to this at all.
They are. No, but this is the secret. The truth is the world is built for poor people. The overwhelming majority of the people on the planet are poor. And while rich people have access to all of these things, it's typically for poor people. So let me put it like this. Actually, Andrew Tate put it really, really great. He said, once you get rich, all you're doing is looking for a better steak. And he absolutely nailed it.
I disagree, because you're also trying to preserve the system, the entire economic system that enables steak to be great.
Not necessarily. Not if you're like a day trader and you're just extracting from the system.
I also want to.
I mean, you should maybe be like a moral obligation to protect the system that produces the steak.
I also want to say, Amber, you can probably intellectualize this idea. Where this is like a good dynamic we have, is where I like throw something out and then she explains it. I hate like this Warren Buffett, wholesome Chungus wealthy, like where he's like exorbitantly wealthy, but he's like, I go to McDonald's and drive a Corolla. I'm like, if you're wealthy, if you're that rich, I want you living like a supervillain.
Yeah.
I want you to be like covering Native American reservations in peanut butter just for no reason, just like blowing stuff. Like I want you living like a supervillain. That's what I want to see. Can you explain this?
Well, okay, so I mean the thing is to get that rich, you have to be careful about lifestyle creep. And so they've become accustomed to being relatively frugal in their daily purchases because that's how they amass their wealth. That's why you see NFL players go broke 2 years after retirement.
Yeah.
This is my point.
They blow all their money.
Let me tell you guys a secret. Most fancy steakhouses that you find on Google are fake fancy. They are designed to cater to the middle to lower income people who want to pretend to be rich.
Like Ruth's Chris.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
I've
noticed
that place.
There's always people taking like trashy birthday pictures in front of the Ruth's Chris sign, and I'm just like, I can't.
I'm not a fan.
I'd rather
of that
go to
place.
Outback Steakhouse.
Agreed. Longhorn.
Yeah.
Bro, I went to Longhorn Steakhouse and the filet was incredible. But I'll tell you a secret. The actual wealthy people, they go to places only they know about. Mm-hmm. You want to know if someone's truly rich? Their clothes don't have tags on them. I was at Mar-a-Lago. And there was a guy sitting. So I don't know if you guys know that, but in the lobby area, there was an older guy sitting on the couch, and some old ladies walk in, and they were like, "Oh, Peter!" And she goes, "Oh my God, you're wearing tags." And he was like, "Well, I had to go get something. And I needed something to wear." Because you get it tailored. Your clothing is all custom made by a tailor who measures you, and it fits you perfectly. And I went and got food at Tucker Carlson once, and we get in a car, and he's like, "I know a great place." And we ate at what was it was like a mansion. We pulled up to a house. There's no sign for it. I couldn't find it on the map. And the room that we ate in was the study.
Yeah.
And it had a fireplace, and they closed the door, and there's books behind us. And it was literally like being in someone's house, except the waiter would come into the room. And then I was like, what is this place? And then it's not listed on Google Maps. It's like you are wealthy, and it caters to the actual wealthy people. And here's the secret. They don't care what you wear.
Right.
Never did. One of my favorite stories is there's a place in Chicago called Steak 48. Probably one of the best steakhouses I've ever been to. This place is a real high-end place. So I recommend it. It's down the street from the Trump Tower in Chicago. The best steak I've ever had in my life, unquestionably the butcher's cut from Steak 48. We usually go on Christmas when I'm back home. And server's there, professional. I go there once a year, and the server there knows me. And he's like, "Mr. Poole, welcome back. It's good to see you this year." They told me a story where a football player showed up in sweatpants, and the manager was like, "Sir, you can't dress like that in here." And he was like, "What do you mean?" He had like a party of 11 people. And so then he was like, "All right, we'll go somewhere else." And when the owner found out, he fired the manager on the spot. Oh. He was like, "That football player drops 50 grand on a table, and you kicked him out for his sweatpants." Actual wealthy places, as long as you don't stink, they don't care.
Yeah.
And so my point is this. People have an Instagram and MTV and reality TV view of what I shouldn't say MTV because they're basically dead at this point, but they have a reality TV view of what wealth is because the TV and the narrative machine creates a view of wealth for people so that they assume. Let me put it like this. Most ultra wealthy people flying private jets don't even own them. It's just a charter. You just charter them. Mm-hmm. It's like calling a taxi. Yeah. And it's not that often. They call a broker and say, "Is it available?" And the cost for a private jet, I would argue, is about 2 to 3 times the cost for a first class ticket. So if you need to fly, so we flew the crew from West Virginia to New York when we did the big Times Square run. It was $13,000 for 8 people. So it's a little bit more than first class would have been, and that meant that we didn't have to wait for well, I don't know if you went, Ian.
Yeah, I did. It saved an entire day of work.
Exactly. Instead of everyone going to the airport, waiting, and then it's like 5 hours at the airport, then land, we literally just 20-minute ride to the airport, walk on the plane, land, 20-minute drive, and we were at our destination. It cut down like 4 or 5 hours. And I think we had like 9 seats because a person can actually sit in the bathroom. And so it's $13,000. So it's a little bit more than $1,000 per person, which a first class ticket would have been $700 or $800. So we were like, okay, it's going to cost us maybe an extra $4,000 to bring everybody to New York, but it saves us a day of work.
Yeah, you run the opportunity cost of the day of work that you would have spent going commercial, and you actually come out ahead because it would have been more than $4,000. There's like 8 of us. If we all, putting all 8 employees for one day of work's probably worth $20,000 of labor.
I also feel like with Tucker, the story you explained, what was it? The Green Book, was that movie where like it was like black people can only go to certain places, so they would give him like a green book?
Yeah,
where they go.
yeah.
I think with Tucker, because there's like 100 wasps left, like in the country probably. So there's probably like a green book for wasps,
Honestly,
and it's like you pull up to like Omaha, it's like here's your Cape Cod restaurant, you can get a good clam chowder here, and it's like no one else knows about it except the wasps because they have their.
He could never go out to eat when he lived in D.C. because he would just get harassed.
Yeah.
This is why these things exist, though, because there are people where it's not me, but there are people like Tucker where if they go to any normal restaurant, it's going to cause a problem. Yeah. So they go to these special private, like high-end places.
Speakeasies?
Yeah, I was going to say that.
And I want to stress this. Another way you know you're in an actual fancy place, there are no prices on the menu. You go to somewhere and you think it's fancy and there's a price on the menu, you are at a like middle income. So even shout out to Steak 48, they're fantastic, but the prices are all listed. So I'm going to be honest with you. I've gone to eat with people. We've gone to restaurants and they don't list the prices. They don't know or care what the bill is going to be. It doesn't even occur to them. And then when the server comes back over, they don't even hand them a check. They just hold their card up. They never even look at the bill. They never ask for the check. They say, you can run it. And then they come back and they just say, you're good, gratuities included.
I do that to Denny's.
Right. Everybody has their scale, you know what I mean?
Well, it's like these really expensive steakhouses and then like fish houses where you go and it's like market price for everything.
Yeah, market price makes sense though because important stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there are...
you just order the crab cake and you're like, F it, man, whatever it costs.
Price and it's $80 these days.
There are a lot of places in New York that are fake speakeasies.
Oh, yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the speakeasies that people know about are fake speakeasies.
Yeah. But it actually is interesting because there's like one in the Lower East Side called I don't know if it's still there, Apothecary. Delicious. Great place. Yeah, it's pretty well known. But when you're walking down the street, it looks like a disgusting hobo alley.
Is that the one where you walk down steps? Dude, there's so many cool speakeasies in New York.
Well, yeah. Dude,
there's one where it's like a vending machine you have to walk through of a coffee shop.
Yeah, you're like going through a Walgreens, like, is there a bar around here? And it's like, sir, you need to go to jail.
I went to a speakeasy in LA. This was years and years ago. We had to enter through like the kitchen of a Korean barbecue restaurant. It was awesome.
I'd rather just have the Korean barbecue.
We thought about it.
Oh, you know what we got to do? Mary's idea for a North Korean barbecue.
Oh yeah, that was gonna be really good. Yeah,
There's not much to it.
And like you'll order a pound of beef and we bring you like a quarter pound. And we're like, what do you mean?
And every once in a while, the server just kills you by touching your face.
The servers are all dressed like Kim Jong-un. They wipe your face. And
Yeah, this is a pro tip for anyone in the crowd. If you're on like a night out with the squad, one way to get morale really high, to hype up the squad really quickly, is go to the bar, prepay for like a bucket of beers, and then tell them when they bring the beers to the table to say this is on the house. That is a killer move. So then they bring the bucket of beers out, and then they go like, this one's on the house. Table gets hyped, morale improves. I think that's the poor man equivalent. That's the working class equivalent to the steakhouse with no labels.
My favorite is when you go to the bar and you say drinks for everyone, and they all cheer, but then you just make them pay their own bills.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Tim, are you familiar with the poor man's first class?
What's that?
It's when no one books the middle seat. That one gets.
I know it well.
Yeah, you get the window seat hyped up when you say.
Well, to be honest,
first class.
I'm all about steak night at the Eagle. So I don't know if
let me tell you guys. See, sometimes it's all about the secrets, and the secret is a standard economy seat in a plane where no one books the middle or the aisle seat next to you is better than first class.
Oh yeah.
You lift the arm up and you can lay down.
Oh, I forget about it, dude. I'll get up.
I don't know. I have to pay for my champagne still.
True. After they
I guess.
the plane,
I don't drink.
get up
And you
look
get
around.
nicer snacks in first.
Oh, and the
Yeah,
nuts are
but,
feed you
but
first.
the first class snacks are those like grain fig bars and popcorn.
Oh, they're phoning it in nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now they don't even give pretzels anymore half the time. It's always those stupid soy oil Biscoff crackers.
I know. I had to like get on my knees and beg
It's like
for a bag of
sawdust.
mixed nuts, like a dog. Like it
Yeah.
was embarrassing. Dude,
That's part of
They give me mixed nuts, and I go to sleep, and I wake up. I got mixed nuts. I'm like, what is this? I don't want this. Now I'm responsible for these nuts.
They
Get them
can't
out of
even
here.
give you a full size pretzel. It's mini pretzels.
They don't even
like,
give you
that's
the
so
keys.
offensive.
They don't even give you the can anymore. They pour it in and then
Yep.
save the other half for the next passenger. Like, are we in a
Don't do
recession?
that.
What's going on? Is this like
Yes.
the Soviet Union? Is this the Soviet Union? Give me the can. I paid like $100.
And they
for
fill it up with their nasty ice that you know has got something in
Disgusting.
it. Coli.
That's
who
like getting
knows?
that's like getting coffee on a plane. You never do that.
Did you guys?
I do it.
Did you guys?
I
Did you
don't
guys
care.
see that
Desperate.
Spirit wants to do standing room planes?
Oh no.
Okay,
Oh,
so
gosh.
it was Ryanair, and
Ryanair, there you go.
To his defense, he went on there and he was like, "If I sold
Ryan
these
did?
tickets." Yeah, right. And he said he went on British television, and they were like, "How could you possibly come up with an idea? That's so evil. That just shows you're out of touch." And he says, "I guarantee you, I get this approved, and I sell these for $2. It's going to be the first."
It was $20, wasn't it?
He said it was going to be £2, and you could
What?
you could stand there. And he said, "I guarantee you, all those seats will sell."
No way for two. I thought it was 20.
He went on TV and he's like, "If I sell them for 2, he's like, those will all sell it first." So he's like, "Call me evil."
absolutely.
He's like, "They'll sell it first."
Yeah, I can't stand these commies. You know what I mean? Like everyone should be allowed. Listen, some people can't afford a plane ticket, and they would sit in the cargo hold if they could, because we have people who try.
Yeah.
So let them stand up if they want to. What I do think is great is the interlocking seats. Have you seen this?
Oh yeah.
Where they basically lift one seat up because that means in economy you get more leg room. They fit more seats in, and everybody gets more leg room.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, because when they
Well, they won't do that because they want to demoralize us.
Oh right, yeah, it's all about just
Hey,
ruining your life.
if it's a $20 ticket, you can break my legs. And shove me on.
Just show me my suitcase.
All right, guys, let's jump to this story from Mediaites. Laura Trump teases president has UFO speech ready and waiting after Obama admits aliens are real. So it's confirmed?
Your podcast that you've discussed with the president is UFOs. Do you think that he's about to make an announcement about UFOs? Because President Obama was just on a podcast talking about how he believes in UFOs and hinting that he saw something when
The
he was
compression's
president.
killing me.
Well, I said this in my podcast
Not
too.
us,
What's
bro,
funny
her.
is we've kind of asked my father-in-law about this because we're like, well, what do you know? Because Miranda, we all want to know about the UFOs, or we all want to know what's going on. And he played a little coy with us. And so that, of course, led us to believe, Eric and I were like, oh my gosh, if he won't even like fully tell us, maybe there's more to it. And then I have just heard kind of around that, I think he's actually said, I think my father-in-law's actually said it, that there is some speech that he has that I guess at the right time, and I don't know when the right time is, he's gonna break out and talk about, and it has to do with maybe some sort of extraterrestrial life, so to speak. I just, I look at things from the perspective of the vastness of our universe. And I'm a kind of a numbers person. I don't get nervous flying because the odds are very much in your favor flying. The odds that anything will happen to you are far greater in a car than they ever will.
We get the rest. But I think there is a decent probability that Trump is so I believe Trump does have a speech. I believe that the speech in all probability has to do with just standard military technology and national security threats. But I believe there is probably a decent probability, this could be like 0.02 or something, that it is actually about extraterrestrial intelligence. And the reason why I entertain this as actually possible, meaning like 1 in 1,000, 1 in 2,000, is that Donald Trump, or I should say, the media and our culture has for some time now been floating that aliens are real. And no one cares. Like the Obama statement was potentially a trial balloon. Obama says, of course they're real, but no one cared. Then he walks it back and says, no, I just meant that they're probably real. I think we're at the point where if there really were aliens, the government could announce it and no one would care. They would be like, oh, wow, well, we were waiting for that.
Well, Michael Schellenberger reported like 2 years ago that there were multiple whistleblowers who not only had recovered craft, but also human biologics. And everyone was just like, okay.
I mean,
So I think you're right.
I'm interested to find out if they're, what the government knows. I'm not particularly convinced that there is something without some kind of evidence.
I don't think they'll ever admit it publicly because one of the concerns, and I asked some of these people who are big into UAPs about it back when we used to have them on Rising, they would say that the U.S. government and the military would be worried about tipping their hand if they had some kind of technology that they assumed was extraterrestrial, but actually was some other nation's more advanced technology than the U.S. has. And so they would never want to admit that.
And what was the tweet where it was like, if they ever confirmed there were aliens, the Chinese would have recipes the next day? So we don't want that to happen either.
We recently did a video at the Daily Caller where we sent out Edgar the Puppet, and we did green card tests for immigrants around D.C. And we asked them a variety of like very American questions, like where does the shortstop stand point on the baseball field? But we had a sign that had a cat, a dog, a hot dog, and I forget what the fourth thing was. And it was point to the objects on this picture that you're allowed to eat.
And what do they point to?
Well, actually, the Chinese girls that were interviewed had a really good sense of humor, and they just pointed at all of them really quickly and started laughing.
It's like, yeah, we're joking.
Yeah, but my favorite one,
Just
though.
kidding.
Yeah. My favorite question, though, was asking them to pronounce Louisville, and they all said
Louisville.
Louisville. Louisville.
Yeah. I've always said, because this has to be said, I didn't say this at the top of the show, we are at the 25th anniversary of the death of Dale Earnhardt.
Yep.
And I think that should be if like tears don't swell in your eyes.
The Intimidator.
Oh, this is no laughing matter. This is no laughing matter. If tears aren't swelling in your eyes thinking about Dale Earnhardt, then I think you should be deported, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Everyone. I don't care where you were born.
I mean, look, if you're getting
If you're
naturalized
asked what
deport.
your favorite sport is, and you say anything other than baseball, it's just you're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, any soccer fans.
Hockey. Oh, you better believe you're gone. Right back to Canada.
The SQ needs to be answered, the soccer question. What are we going to do with these people? What are we going to do with these people?
get rid of them, send them.
Soccer
back.
is I look at soccer like the ow my balls of sports.
Yeah.
Because I remember I don't watch it because it's stupid, and I like baseball and to a lesser extent football, but baseball, if I'm going to watch a sport, it's going to be baseball. But I remember when I was at Vice, we were watching the World Cup because like Brazil had got that blowout where they were crying.
Yeah.
And then people in the stands were like losing their minds. And the thing about baseball is it's like there's strategy. They got, they're the commentators talking about like, oh, they're going to switch the pitcher out. And then they're talking about the stats and there's all these numbers and we're like doing math and writing things out. And then there's like with most sports, you've got the fantasy stuff where people are calculating stats. And then soccer is like, he's running left. Then he's turning around. Then he's turning around again.
Run fast, kick ball. It's literally a sport for monkeys.
Also,
it's just back and forth nonstop. And I'm like, this is
I hate
boring.
it.
Soccer is the easiest way to explain to people the insanity of like the American immigration system. Because if you look at the U.S. national team, our soccer team, there's a player, he's like the midfielder, Yunus Musa, and he was born in New York City, grew up in England. He moved when he was like a month old.
Yeah.
And when they ask him why was he born there, he's like, yeah, my mom was like on vacation in New York City and had me. And it's like really a 9-month pregnant like, woman
about
who's just
the-
vacationing in New York City.
But you saw
tourism.
you saw the recent reporting about the Chinese birth like citizenship factories.
Yeah.
Where it's like hundreds of babies per week or whatever are born here and shipped right back to China.
Yeah.
So that way they can move here as citizens.
Yeah, and the only benefit is like, okay, well, Crush is like in the math Olympics, and that's really it. Same thing with soccer. It's like, okay, let's maybe bring some Brazilians in for like tourism purposes.
Did you guys ever hear the conspiracy theory that the gray aliens are just Chinese people from the future?
That's not.
That's not a joke.
It's not a long.
It's literally not a joke.
Yeah.
There are people who, like, online, there's conspiracy theories that the reason the gray aliens, like, they've got big heads and they're gaunt and they have big eyes. And people believe, they believe that in the future, China takes over and it's a bunch of Asians and they go back in time and they're wasting away their bodies because they use technology and they're actually just Asians.
Well, because there's that point. Someone made this point. It's a very salient point. You never see pregnant Asians. Like they just
stay
kinda,
home.
They
Is
just
that
kind of
true?
spawn.
They hide
just
until-
spawn. Yeah.
until
Like
winter?
Spawn points maybe.
Spawn point.
Well, one guy
Well,
on
they're not
Twitter,
allowed
he
to get pregnant.
posted
Hey, you're not
very
supposed to.
frequently.
You're not allowed to know that.
I don't know. I don't know if maybe I'm like treading. I might get killed on the way.
My
home or something.
spawn point was in Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah, it's actually just a giant statue of Godzilla, and you just sort of appear there one day, and you're 18,
I was going to say you're
fully clothed,
fully clothed adult.
Yeah.
because we live in a simulation, and the Asians are in control.
Well, because one guy posted on Twitter, this was recently, he posted a picture of,
Actually,
of a
it's the
pregnant
Koreans.
Asian woman, and everyone was like, "At Grok, this is AI." This because you don't.
So actually, who is they? Well, it's Koreans,
Right.
and it's actually South Koreans. They control everything.
And it's so true.
Yeah.
Try to debunk that. You can't.
The Koreans.
We had a great talk with Kangmin Lee last week about that very thing.
That proves it.
That the Koreans are ruling everything?
Yeah, he's deep. He's about a South Korean.
Very, very Christian as
My
well.
question is, though, are aliens
A lot of
speaking to
Koreans
people in their brains with this DMT laser experiment where people are seeing the data?
Well, those are Koreans.
And then they're doing bubble cymatics in a lab somewhere, and they're all surrounding this giant bubble. And the aliens are speaking to us through this bubble by sending either
You got to talk into the microphone, brother.
or low frequency. I know you could hear me, but I'll be more clear. Yeah. So are we like adapting that psychoanalysis and manifesting it in like bubble cymatic form? And that's how we're like communicating with the aliens in Alpha Centauri. So they're giving us information, but they're not here. But they're here. It's like if you call me, it's like I know you're not here.
And it's always so interesting that these massive, like, nefarious government programs are always in the most innocuous locations. Like this bubble cymatic that you're describing is probably outside of like St. Louis.
Yes,
You know?
that's right.
Because you always expect them to be
fountain.
like, like in
public
Virginia,
fountain, yeah.
but it's always like in a random location. Like this bubble cymatic is probably like, I don't know,
At the
outside
top of the,
Fargo.
of the arch.
Yeah, it's in East
Only
St.
from a
Louis.
satellite at a certain
The arch
angle
is
can
the
you
portal.
see the language.
Is the arch the portal? I've heard that.
think so.
I've heard if you pass through, you don't come out.
Well, it's not on.
Oh.
Yeah, it's got to be on.
I just start to think there's aliens.
That's how the Cardinals are performing that season. Yeah.
I'm starting to think that the aliens are real, dude. They're just
Why?
I will state,
I don't know, it just
Why?
would be
throw a
weird
wrench
if
in
they
things.
weren't.
I'll state with 100% certainty there are no aliens.
Why?
I think they're demons.
I think that basically means the same thing, though.
What?
Like it's just extra non-human intelligence, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
higher frequency.
The aliens and demons, in my mind, are interchangeable in concept.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And angels?
Yeah.
They could be working together.
Yeah.
The angels and the demons.
Like a galactic war.
Yeah, there's an Ancient Alien episode about that.
About the angels and demons being
yeah,
friends.
angels
Could be.
and,
It's like when you have that
aliens
one-
and demons, yeah.
Like one
This
of
is
your buddies
getting heretical very quickly. I'm uncomfortable.
Well, Ian's here, so
if your buddy's a dick, you're still gonna work with him because he's your buddy. That's like so angels and demons, you know?
They're
I don't.
not
I
buddies,
for the
though.
record,
don't think that's
for-
correct, Ian.
For posterity, because my pastor tends
On
to watch
Ash
this
Wednesday,
show,
no less.
I do not think the angels and demons are working together, and I don't think there's just no aliens. There's no like. It's just,
The
like, not gonna happen.
interstellar travel is the stars are way too far apart for me to buy it. Like, I mean, look, it's possible that there's physics that we haven't discovered. There's things that we don't understand. But if
I would say it's
Einstein,
absolute.
well,
It's
yeah,
absolute. There's physics we haven't discovered.
yeah, okay, so fair enough. But if Einstein is right, like the speed of light isn't just the speed of light, it's the speed of causality. It's the speed of cause and effect. Like it takes 8 minutes for the light from the sun to get to the Earth, and if the sun disappeared, not only would it take 8 minutes for the light to get here for us to know, but it would take 8 minutes for the effect of gravity to get here too. So the speed of
Yeah,
light
we keep
isn't
going around.
Yeah, the speed of light isn't just the speed. It's not just the speed limit of light. It's the speed limit of everything. And the distances are so vast.
Guys, you know what Star Trek got wrong and Star Wars and all these? Warp drive. Warp drive is some 1950s BS Einstein garbage where they're like, what if we use, like some kind of dense energy to warp space-time and then we move in between space-time like a golf ball moving through a large hose that you squeeze. And it's like, that's 1950 stuff. You want to know how we actually do it? We need to find the markers that signify our coordinates in the universe, in the data, and then we just backspace, 139, enter, and then just appears on the other side of the planet.
That's Yeah, that's literally, I think, how you do it.
Ley lines.
Crude way to say it, but what you would do is you'd map the matrix of where you want to go, the XYZ axis of what you'd map in this cube of reality. What is in every point in this box? What it is, how much of it there is, and where it is, and you map those three things.
You just need to edit the value in the code set.
You can
but I've
recreate
also-
that value locally. Yeah.
I've had this anti-teleportation position for a while now because you would get arrested for exposure because when you teleport, you would be naked because your clothes are not a part of you.
No.
If it could teleport your clothes with you, then how do you separate your shoes from the ground? Then you would just teleport everything with you when you
No.
When you teleport,
you
someone,
don't
you would be
understand.
naked when you show up. I don't want to do that. I would get like
The universal data set has your equipment on your body as one thing
But how can it separate my shoes from like my?
because they are different values.
But how does it know?
Because in the universe, the Tate value includes a subset of items that the universe is distinct from
But how can it differentiate the shoes?
because they're two different data files.
I see.
It's like saying, how can I have a music video from, Men at Work and from Britney Spears both on my computer at the same time? How does it know? And it's like, because there's a start and a stop to both of them.
Yeah, it would have defined boundaries.
Ian, would
between-
you still be okay with teleporting places if you would teleport there and arrive naked?
Oh yeah, dude. I thought that was happening anyway.
Yeah, but hold on. By that
Going
virue,
in.
then all of your gut bacteria, all of the that concept doesn't work because there are things inside your body that are not connected to your cells.
I need those.
There's
need
a
them.
difference
So-
between inside and out your body, and just because something's in your stomach doesn't mean it's inside your body.
I need
And so, or a part of your body. And so the argument would be that, okay, well, if it's in your body, then it goes with you. Then I'll just eat a shirt. I will stuff it in my mouth.
right.
Life hack.
You know, you know what I'll do? I'll get like a very thin Mylar jumpsuit, roll it up super tight, put it in my mouth, teleport and into like an alley, and then pull it out. And I would wear that very thin Mylar suit until I can go find some real clothes.
There you go.
I think you could code the Mylar to go with you, but then you could also code and like arrive in a different outfit than you left in. I think.
Right.
You know what I love is that in Star Trek, the lore is actually that when you get beamed up, you die.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that?
Really?
Yeah. And then your body is reconstituted from memory, and it's just different. It's just different.
Instead of the Canadian Maid program, should we do that? Be like, you guys can volunteer to go one-way teleport. We don't know if you're going to survive when you get there, but we
That's
think
a
it's
good
going to work.
idea. Yeah, that was Alex Stein's proposal.
I mean, the Maid program's pretty dark. At least this gives them a chance, you know?
Maid program is extremely dark.
Yeah. People that are like on their last legs anyway, go
Amber,
for
what
a
is
ride.
Not on their
what's
last
the
legs.
Politico kind of wonk perspective on teleportation on Star
On
Trek, these sorts of
teleportation.
things?
Let's jump to this next story. This is a wild story. That's from Mediaite. Crockett throws Colbert under the bus. Federal government did not shut down this segment. Guys, this story is crazy, and I would actually argue that it's criminal because I believe it constitutes fraud. Now, I'm being careful here because I don't know for sure, but here's what happened. Colbert goes on his show and lied and claimed that CBS told him he could not have this Democrat Tellerico on his show because of equal time rules. The Trump administration didn't want you to see this interview, Tellerico says on X. As it turns out, CBS publicly stated, wrong. We simply told Colbert that if he did the interview, it could trigger equal time laws, which would mean Jasmine Crockett would have to be booked on his show, or they said, here are some ideas to give her equal time. He lied and claimed Trump blocked him. And he did this so that he could drum up this public support. And it is being reported now that Tellerico raised $2.5 million from their hoax. So Colbert goes on his show and lies about the federal government, tricking people into believing the government was censoring a Democrat and he raised tons of money, when in reality, the only person being censored was Jasmine Crockett and was censored by Colbert himself.
That's got to be illegal.
This is wild.
It is crazy.
It's cheating at the very least.
CBS, I believe, had already released their initial statement about what happened before Tellerico even made that post, too. So he already knew that he was lying. And I mean, similar thing happened back when the FCC threatened, was it Kimmel with the news distortion clause? Basically, for a long time, the FCC gave a lot of leeway to these late night shows because they were viewed as entertainment, but the interviews that they did with politicians were considered bona fide news interviews, which you get an exception under these various clauses, including the equal time rules. But they're not bona fide news interviews, as we've seen, right? Like if these people go on there and they start joking around or they play a game with one another, all of a sudden you lose that exemption. But the FCC just hasn't done anything about it. Now they're actually doing something about it. And CBS obviously is acutely aware of the fact that they are violating these rules. And not only do they not want to give Jasmine Crockett the seat, but whoever else is in that primary, any of those low-level candidates would also be subject to this. I actually saw Caitlin Collins went on Colbert and defended Tallarico and Stephen Colbert by saying, well, would people want conservative talk radio or Republican talk radio to have to give equal time to Democratic candidates? She clearly doesn't know anything about GOP talk radio because, yes, they do invite the Democratic opponents every time they invite a Republican on, and they would love to have a Democrat on their show so they could rip them to shreds and ask them difficult questions. she's just never seen it because the Democrats don't go on platforms that they don't agree with.
Yeah, I got for you guys here 18 USC 1343. Whoever, having devised or intending to devise any scheme or artifice to defraud or for obtaining money or property by means of false or fraudulent pretenses, representations, or promises, transmits or causes to be transmitted by means of wire, radio, or television communication in interstate or foreign commerce, any writing, signs, signals, pictures, or sounds for the purpose of executing such scheme or artifice shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both. Now, the question is, does I believe wire is covered under internet? And the question then is, under 18 USC 1343, did Tallarico and Colbert devise this scheme to obtain money through false or fraudulent pretenses transmitted over wire?
Indict him.
That's tough to prove.
How is it tough to prove?
Because he did the GoFundMe after it happened.
They raised as Amber already mentioned, Tallarico knew. CBS said we never barred this, and then he said, "Here's what Trump doesn't want you to see," and raised $2.5 million. I don't think that's hard to prove at all.
You got to see between CBS and this Tallarico guy what their communications literally were, because it may have been a truth that existed in reality that he didn't know about.
I don't think that's hard to prove at all. You go to a jury and say, "Hey, they should have had Jasmine Crockett on under equal time, but they claimed CBS barred them. Here's the letter that was sent from CBS to Colbert before the show aired saying he's not being barred from doing the interview." Why did they both then pretend CBS did bar them from doing it? They're lying because Colbert got the notification from CBS lawyers before doing the show. In fact, you know what? This is a slam dunk. Colbert stated he actually, after he said every script is approved, and after he spoke, they called him backstage for notes on what he was legally allowed to say. He tried making it seem like they agreed with what he was saying instead of just telling him he was legally allowed to say certain things. But that's Colbert stating outright that he had conferred with the legal team and he knew full well he was allowed to do the interview and it was not blocked by Donald Trump. Now, the Donald Trump is the important question. Because if CBS said, you can do the interview, but you got to interview Jasmine Crockett, in no way did CBS insinuate that Trump barred him from doing it. It was a letter from CBS's lawyers, not from the FCC. So for Colbert to then say, Trump's FCC is doing this, and for Tallarico to say, here's the interview Trump doesn't want you to see, now that's knowingly lying.
Yeah, it sounds like they're back there in their radicalized little dome talk, and they're like, oh, Trump's FCC is making it, it's Trump is making them do this. And they're like, all right. And then they just get it in their head that it's literally Trump. And when they go public and say it, they're making a false claim.
But I think they've always known this, because you think back 2016, Jimmy Fallon, when the Fallon on the Tonight Show, and he had Trump on, but then he also had like Marco Rubio on. Yep. He had I think Jeb Bush went on. Chris Christie went on. Mm-hmm. Like, they knew Trump was box office. We got to bring him on. They don't want to bring Mark. Who cares what Marco Rubio has to say on the Fallon Show? But they have to, because so this has been a long-standing understanding in late night television that you have to bring these people on. So that's all they were communicating to Colbert is like.
And it's not a Republican. It's Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop making me defend Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah.
Of all people.
When's the last time Jasmine Crockett was correct? Come on.
Well, it just made it obvious that the establishment is keenly aware that she is an electoral nightmare. And they're running in Texas, already raised her.
You know why they want Tallarico in Texas?
Why?
Because he is a Democrat masquerading as a Christian conservative.
Yes.
Right. But it's crazy because he doesn't even pass the sniff test right away, because he had the opportunity. He's on Colbert, presumably these clips would circulate on right wing or Christian circles.
Nope, doesn't matter.
And he gets up there, and instead of at least trying to hide the ball a little bit, he's like, Christians should support abortion and Christians should support gay marriage because Christ wants you to be happy.
Because that audience on Colbert is all Democrat.
Right.
And so what they're trying to do is get Democrats to be like, okay, well, he's on our side. And then in the streets of Texas, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, but Tallarico is a Christian. And he's very devout. And no one's going to hear what he says. And then when he goes to churches, he's not going to say any of that stuff.
The other thing that's so annoying and stupid about his statement, is the way he phrased it as his FCC refused to air my interview. Yeah. The FCC doesn't air things.
Yeah.
If the FCC warns you shouldn't do something, CBS can still tell them to kick rocks and do it and take the fine or the punishment or whatever it is. They don't get to dictate what gets broadcast on the front end.
Yep. It's just, I mean, it's just trying to cover their ass in it, and I think that there's probably a good case to indict them.
That was even with the Kimmel suspension. Like the media, the way they were presenting it was that the FCC suspended Kimmel. It's like, no, it was the broadcaster suspended Kimmel. Again, okay, maybe they were trying to dodge, fines or whatever from the FCC, but that was not the FCC's decision.
No.
They can't. They lead, like, there's no way. There's no mechanism that they could exercise here.
Yeah.
Colbert is an evil guy.
Yeah.
But what I will say is this is, at this point, I don't know how much matters other than at least they're willing to destroy their enemies, and the right certainly is not.
Yeah.
Colbert is another example, like Tallarico, of this guy who just does this like Christianity LARP and like actually has zero.
How does that make you feel?
It's offensive. I'm quite comfortable saying yes. I am triggered when I see Tallarico again, just wear my faith as a skin suit. Like
Same.
It's absolutely horrific to see because it's the complete opposite. He was like, Christ wants you to be happy, et cetera, et cetera. It's like actually Christ's core message, what is the actual prerequisite for salvation? It's denying yourself. The opposite of denying yourself is an abortion, because an abortion, oh wait, this baby is going to potentially cost me a promotion, so I should kill it. That is the complete opposite of denying yourself. You're literally sacrificing a human being at the altar of your life.
It's just like those anti-ICE protesters who went into the church and went after the pastor because they believed he was affiliated with ICE, and all of the Democrats justified it by saying, well, he's hypocritical if he's working with ICE to deport people because we need to be welcoming and nice to people. And it's such this like surface level BS reading of the Bible.
Yeah.
They pick and choose which little parts. This is literally a meme on the Christian right where we point out that people who don't actually care about the faith or read the Bible or go to church on a regular basis will intentionally manipulate to try to get Christians to do what they want.
Yeah, like they literally are like, Joseph and Mary were refugees. I'm like, Joseph was going back to where he was from.
They were going to register for the census.
Yeah, like anyone that has any knowledge of biblical, of the Bible, knows that Joseph was from Bethlehem. That's why he had to go back. He was the opposite of a refugee. If anything, he was deported from Nazareth. Like, what are we doing here? It's just utterly. I feel like a crazy person sometimes when I see these people.
It's not you.
It doesn't even require like any theological literacy. It's just like any Christian that has a basic Sunday school understanding of the Bible will say, yes, Joseph was from Bethlehem. He's not a refugee. If anything, he's returning back to where he's from.
Yeah, but this is something that the left does all the time. They will use your ideology or your principles against you. They'll go ahead and say,
what about my free speech? I thought you believed in free speech.
Yeah, exactly. They do that constantly, and they'll say they have no principles of their own. They're all just purely about power, and so they'll go ahead and try to use things that you care about against you, even though they don't give a crap about it.
Oh, well, yeah, Tallarico, his entire statement was, the right is now the arbiter of cancel culture, and I'm bravely standing up. He literally said verbatim, I'm standing up to cancel culture.
The correct answer for that is yes, fine.
Yeah,
and
actually,
and
cancel
continue.
culture, but based.
I actually have a bone to pick with Tallarico going way back before all of this, because there was this series of profiles in one of the major news outlets. I think it might have been New York Magazine, but they did this photo shoot with all of the up and coming Democrats. They had this tufted red leather chair, and they would take the chair around with them around the country to meet these candidates, and they would put the chair in a space that was supposedly like representative of the candidate. So for Maxwell Frost, they had it like on the streets of DC. They took the chair to Texas. They put James Tallarico in it. It wasn't in a church. It wasn't anything to do with politics. They put him on a football field. So I'm thinking, okay, this guy must be like a football coach. Oh, that's cool. The Democrats finally got like a real guy to run for Congress. And then I looked into his background, zero affiliation with football. He just lives in Texas.
Well, to be fair, George Santos told that story too, where like they just lie and make everything up. And he said that they wrote that he was his volleyball star. What was the story that he told?
Yeah, when he was at Brute College, he was like the captain of the volleyball team or whatever.
Yeah, it's just made up.
Yeah.
It's all lies.
Yeah. Worked for Goldman Sachs.
It's funny because like his congressional
is so relatable.
Yeah, but to that degree, it's funny because in Congress, George was like this is called not good, but he's a great guy. You know, if you ever meet him in person,
charismatic.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy. He's a good dude.
They made an example out of him because he lied on his resume, and 80% of Americans. Punish
well, he was spending money.
It was a little more complicated than that.
Okay, sometimes you cook a little bit too much. Okay, I'll give you that. But
sometimes you spend your campaign dollars on Botox.
Sometimes you say, sometimes you spent 3 months longer at a company. Sometimes you were the captain of the volleyball team.
Sometimes you buy your fake wife a house
Look, the
and
Republicans-
marry her for the exact amount of time it takes for her to get a green card.
Republicans should have.
While you're living with the man.
should
That's
have
just
turned.
happens.
The Republicans should have
Who's
turned a
among us?
blind eye to everything that George Santos did, because the Democrats would have done the same. And again, again, like
I just thought he was funny. That's why.
hilarious.
I do wish we had a sassy gay in Congress.
Yeah, for real.
Enough Botox. You look good. You just.
Isn't it because of the
natural.
Botox?
You're right where you need to be, brother. No more none of that garbage, fake
There is
plastic
like a
shit.
Goldilocks zone.
You're a healthy
for
man.
sure.
Let's keep
Goldilocks zone.
He's in the Goldilocks zone.
You hit it. You hit it.
Yeah, but Tallarico is literally like, I'm comfortable saying, one of the worst people in American.
I've been wrestling with hypocrites, religious hypocrites, because it's like, don't say the Lord's name in vain. To me, that's like saying I'm a Christian when I'm not. You know, if I don't really believe it, don't
That's
spout
not
it.
what that means.
What? Take
You know, like,
in vain. Yeah,
Ian-
one of the ways you can do that is say I believe in this thing when you.
I think that it's like you have this interpretation of Christianity that only exists in your mind.
Yeah, he was saying that lying isn't a sin.
That would
Using
be,
it for
that would be a
vanity.
false.
Hey guys, wait! Look, I made a video that's
Bearing
really
false
funny.
witness?
Look at
False
this.
witness is
Look at this.
different, yeah.
Can someone explain to me what it is that Nancy Pelosi is doing?
Is she,
Can you rewind it?
Cooking the
I didn't see the
books?
Cooking
beginning.
some.
Oh.
Oh,
Cooking the
yes.
Yeah,
She's cooking the books.
Wow.
That's right. She
In a
has
wok.
she has a pan and she is putting a book into it. Grok is hilarious. And it floats for some reason.
Yeah, I don't
know
like
why.
the way that moves.
And we know her. And we know her
boiling,
kitchen does not look like that. The kitchen's very nice.
Yeah, where's that $30,000 freezer or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Why does it 5
Airbnb.
burners on the stove?
she's
What
in a
stove
trailer,
looks like
dude.
that?
That's
Funny.
trailer
Good
right
catch.
You know, maybe when you're rich, you get a custom built 5-burner stove. You know.
It's like, let me put my drying
They're in
rack
a
next to the
circle.
stove.
$5
They're
She's
also
conjuring.
gas powered.
She's
Wait,
conjuring.
wait! Those are electric grills with fire coming out of it.
The drying rack is next to the stove instead of next to the sink. This lady's crazy. She's senile. She's senile.
Can you make
Well,
her
I mean,
cooking
yeah.
5 books, but she's like spinning plates. They're about to all.
Also, the knobs on the cabinets on the right side are on like different sides of the cabinet.
It's like a drunk person designed this kitchen.
Yeah.
or like an AI?
And the hinge is
design
next to
kitchen.
the knob on the far right
Well,
one.
the outlets are the right way up,
Right.
which is
Big
weird.
win.
There's a lot going on here.
There is a. I mean, Nancy Pelosi's
Can we,
correct though.
can we dunk on Tallarico some more?
Yeah,
I
dude.
really like
I want to talk about the SAVE Act.
Okay.
What about
the
it?
SAVE Act.
Let's do it. Here we go.
Okay.
We got this story from Fox News. Senator Lee dares Democrats to revive talking filibuster
Yes.
over SAVE Act,
Yes.
slamming criticism as paranoid fantasy.
This is
Let-
exactly what I wanted to talk about.
Let me just stress real quick. The country can be saved right now if the Republicans just nuke the stupid fake filibuster.
They don't even have to do that.
Okay, tell us. Take us home.
Okay, they don't even have to do that. The talking filibuster is a rule already where how it works is that they have to abide by the two-speech rule. So if they do the talking filibuster, basically every member of the Senate gets the opportunity to make 2 speeches during on the same legislative question during the same legislative day. So you'd say, oh, well, certainly they could run out the clock if it's on the same day because people, you know, the 40-something Democrats could just all do 2 speeches and it would be over and then they'd have to restart the process. But no, because congressional rules say that in relation to legislative business, I am quoting directly from congress.gov, the day during which a senator can make no more than 2 speeches on the same question is not a calendar day, but a legislative day. A legislative day ends only with an adjournment so that whenever the Senate recesses overnight rather than adjourning, the same legislative day continues into the next calendar day. So they could literally like force Democrats to give up by not allowing them to sleep or by refusing to adjourn the legislative session.
Yeah.
And eventually they would just get so tired they would give up because nobody in Congress likes to work.
No, they don't.
Do that.
Yeah, yeah, John Thune. You know,
John Thune, if you can hear me. John Thune, please, if you can hear me, please save me. Please pass.
They're not going to do it because politics is fake. Every Republican wants it done. Every Democrat wants it done. Every independent wants it done. And for some reason, Democrat members of Congress are like, nobody wants this. And it's and this is the emperor has no clothes moment for truly everybody because every single person knows. Okay, the polling shows a range of between 70 and 80% of Democrats want voter ID. It shows that 80% of independents want voter ID and 95% of Republicans want voter ID, and everyone else is confused. And the SAVE Act, Democrats are like, no. But well, hold on, all of your constituents want it to pass.
Yeah, but I'm
the
going to be
problem?
disenfranchised as a married woman who's changed her last name.
Well, you know, that actually is a fair argument that women aren't smart enough to figure out how to file paperwork.
Yeah,
but
we're all retarded.
That, but unironically.
I love that the Democrats always
wait,
fall
and
back
that's a good
on.
thing.
That's actually a great policy. That's
love
what I'm
the-
going
Yeah, that's
for.
the other thing. Well, you would want married women to vote because they tend to vote Republican.
True.
It's the unmarried
Pro-Karen.
women you want to disenfranchise.
So why do the Democrats always fall back on our constituents are stupid? They were doing it with. They were saying that black people can't get IDs. They were saying that women can't get IDs. Why is it that they constantly are just like, oh, you know what? Our constituents are stupid. They can't figure out how to do this.
They actually think that. They have contempt for everyday Americans. I mean, why else would Joe Biden tell you can't have a dryer that dries your clothes properly?
Well, it's because Joe Biden's stupid.
But he hates us. They hate us and they want us to be miserable. That's why you can't have good water pressure in the shower because they hate us.
And then they make these toilets where
they can't flush properly.
When you flush it, you got to wash your hands above the toilet. You've seen these?
Oh, that's evil.
There's a toilet. And then there's a spigot that comes up and the water comes down and it fills the toilet up while you wash your hands. And then when it's done, you either flush the toilet again, wasting even more water, or you don't get any more water.
Things can get even worse. Have you seen in Europe where on the caps and then it's like attached?
Yes.
Like that, you can't take it
Okay,
off?
I have a great story
that's
about
satanic.
this.
That's
okay,
satanic.
so I used to work for The Spectator, which is a British company, and so I had British coworkers, and one of my coworkers, I was telling him about this because I saw it on Twitter and I was like, y'all are getting crazy with those water bottle caps over there. This is communism. And
satanic.
He was like, you're overreacting. It's not that bad. He went back to visit his family and went to London for a bit, had to get one of these water bottles at Heathrow Airport. And when he got back to the United States, he was like, you're right. It was freaking horrible. It's
horrible.
And,
I thought you were
going
to say something like he got chopped up by a machete while he was there or something.
Well, he didn't run into any of the migrant rape gangs, luckily, but he did run into the awful water caps.
That actually is good. A political joke, actually. That's actually no. Actually, I think you just accidentally wrote a great bit of political humor where it's like.
Well, of course I didn't do it on purpose, woman.
Yeah, you go like you guys ever see those water bottles in Europe where the cap is stuck to the top, you can't take it off? Well, it's like I had a friend who didn't believe me. And so he was actually going on a trip to Europe. And I was like, watch, when you go there, you're going to see these water bottles. And guess what happened? He got hacked to death by a migrant with a machete.
Literally. But at least when the blade was coming for his neck, it severed the cap from the bottle. So it did work out.
That's the video where as he's falling down, the cap is sliced off. And
as his final breath,
or the little tab actually saves him.
Yeah, his final breath, he sees, thank you.
Yeah, he holds the bottle up and the machete hits the tab
now.
and gets
And
stuck.
and
he's like,
Jack rises in the background.
Yeah. I remember I went to Europe and that happened. And I literally I didn't care about the microplastics. Gnawed it off like a dog. So I'm not going to live like that.
What's the new meme? Is it Amelia? That's her name.
Yeah.
Because they have this this website where you're supposed to play a game to warn you against domestic extremism.
She's supposed to be the bad guy.
Anti-Chud.
Yeah, and it's like a cartoon game, and you literally they're like this girl wants you to go to this anti-immigrant protest, and it's this super cute all purple-haired art chick,
kind of goth chick,
and you're supposed to say no, I will not go to the protest, and if you say yes, they're like, careful, you could be thrown in jail for the rest of your life.
Literally.
But all of the people in the UK have started memeing this girl. To
Amelia,
be the hero. Yeah. Because
it's horrible. It's literally like Jim Crow laws for chuds. We are by far the most oppressed group probably.
Have you guys? There's a viral video from a soccer game where there's a white guy about to do a penalty kick, and then a black guy runs up and shoves him, and he turns around and gets in his face, and then the ref runs up, defends the black guy, and holds the yellow card in the face of the guy who got attacked. And they were like, "This is basically Europe."
Yeah, this is Western civilization.
Yeah, exactly what it is the downfall.
Yeah, so I'm.
Well,
so sick
look,
of it.
whose fault is it? It's conservative Christians' fault, 100%. You sat on the throne. And when the scorpion came to your door, you said, come on in, what do I care? And now your children are reaping the benefits of the world that you built. And still to this day, conservatives are demure.
I legitimately think it's conservative Christian women, to be honest with you.
Well, me and Amber can cook on that. To defend the voting base. I make this point all the time with the Brits is there's this tendency for Americans to be like, well, this is the government they voted for. I'm like, at every turn, the Brit and by extension Europeans have voted for less migration. So they are doing all they can do in a liberal democracy. Yeah. Which, in my opinion, was imposed on the West at large after World War II. So it's there's not really much we can do because anytime you do chimp out, the state comes down on you with the full weight. So it's at every turn, everyone has voted correctly. Yes, we want less migration. Yes, we want more conservative social policy. Think about before...
You saw Hillary, though, right?
Think about before Obergefell is California. They voted no, we don't want gay marriage.
Yeah.
No. Everyone is voting no gay marriage. And then, boom, imposed on you. Sorry, it doesn't matter.
We also just voted for mass deportations. And then, a couple of blue-haired women in Minnesota go crazy. And we're like, maybe we shouldn't do that anymore because it makes them sad.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not going to throw Christian conservatives under the bus because it's they're just operating in the system that you gave them.
There was the briefest of periods of some kind of Republican form of government, and very shortly after the foundation of the United States, it was not anymore.
Yeah, electricity. That caused it. In my
Maybe.
opinion, they wrote this government for pre-electricity.
Jesus.
Riding fucking horses in Washington, D.C.
The conspiracy theory is that the Americans didn't win the revolution. What happened is when the king and parliament found out that the Americans were proposing a system of governance where anyone could run, they said, so why are we wasting money fighting with them? We can literally just go there and fund elections. And so the conspiracy theory is that within about 10 years, or maybe 10 or 20 years, the British simply just funded candidates who would support the empire and then effectively relocated the center of military power for the empire in the United States and then controlled the colonies.
Well, if that were the case, the South would have decisively won the Civil War.
Why?
Because that's where the loyalist base was, and that's the British supported. There was a much stronger sense of Anglicanism in the South and these sorts of things. And in the run up to the Civil War, the British were much more aligned with the South than they were with the North. So the political capital would have all resided in the South, and they would have decisively came on.
I don't think so, because Britain had already banned slavery, so it was bad.
Well, it wasn't about for the British. It wasn't about slavery. It was just about
right. I know, but for the British Empire, they had already abolished slavery, so politically they couldn't get behind the slave states.
This says that
they did though. They were it was fairly explicit.
The government remained neutral, but it was the industry bankers and the finance supported the South heavily. They invested in major holdings of Confederate bonds.
Yep.
About $3 million, $14.5 million in gold through a 1862 bond sale to the.
Yeah, so it wasn't Parliament saying
Bank
we
in
support
Paris.
the South, but every institution in Britain was it was in their interest for the South to be.
Here you go, everybody.
Decisively victorious.
Then we combine them. The key is right here, layers of flavor.
So it's about building the right foundation?
Exactly. Then we combine them. The key is right here, layers of flavor.
That's nice. I like that a lot.
So this is Nancy
Voice
Pelosi.
isn't shrill enough.
But you know it's not fair though, because Gordon Ramsay's a good dude. I don't want to imply that he's teaching her to do evil, because it should be the other way around actually. Pelosi should be demanding Gordon do it, and Gordon should be saying no.
Yeah, crazy. It tastes like shit. Have him.
Here we go.
It's effing raw.
Have her cook the book. He thinks it's raw. You got a winner of a sketch.
Crazy how he acted on that one show, and then if you watch his Instagram stories or his reels or whatever, he's such a nice dude.
Oh yeah, when they have kids on the show and he's a sweetheart.
So
Yeah.
One of my favorite
Son's awesome too.
episodes of Kitchen Rescues is when he finds this hole in the wall restaurant, and it's this old Caribbean grandma, and she's got this tiny hole in the wall with 2 tables, and he's just I can't believe how good this food is, and nobody knows it's here. And it's just this little old lady at a restaurant.
Seen it.
Oh yeah, this shit went
Jamaican.
viral.
So during the O.J. Simpson trial, where a lot of Black Americans, they viewed it as a wedge issue, so they just got behind O.J. just purely because it turned into kind of a cultural thing. I had a micro version of this in college where we were sitting around. It was a bunch of white and black guys, and we were all sitting around watching Kitchen Nightmares. And there was this episode where he went to a restaurant. I think it was in Memphis actually, and at the front door they found a mouse, a dead mouse, laying right by the door. And the guy that was running the restaurant, this was a soul food restaurant, immediately accused Gordon of hey, you planted this mouse here for television. This is crazy. Why would you do this to us? And then all the white guys in the room were wow, this is crazy. What? This guy's so crazy for accusing Gordon Ramsay. And every black person in the room was yeah, he definitely planted that mouse. And it was a microcosm. I was this is what the O.J. Simpson trial was like.
Oh, take a look at this.
There you go.
Wait, where'd the sound go?
No, it's too explicit.
Oh, wait.
Policy, it's you evil woman. Cooking the books is wrong.
It's just policy, Gordon.
Policy, it's fraud. You're burning the books.
Yes.
You evil woman. Cooking the books is wrong.
Gordon's a good
It's
man.
just policy,
He's a good
Gordon.
man.
Policy, it's fraud. You're burning the books.
It's a double entendre.
I'm gonna download that.
Gordon's a
and
good
post it.
man. This is accurate.
All right, we're gonna go to your Rumble rants and super chats. So smash the like button, share the show with everyone you know, and it really does help. And make sure you pick up the new Cast Brew Vault Black at castbrew.com. No joke. It is a cold brew concentrate. So I say, mix it. You want to level out with water to taste. We originally worked on these single serving ones. So I actually, off the top of my head, don't have the actual ratio, but I think it's a couple 2 ounces of Vault Black with 8 ounces of water or something. It's a concentrate, but you'll figure it out. And check it out at castbrew.com. In the meantime, we're going to grab your rants and chats and see what you guys are on about. All right. Drubius Maximus says, first time super chatter per Timcast tradition. My wife and I are back from the hospital with baby number 3.
Hey,
we are 28 and 27, married almost 7 years, planning on homeschooling. Based.
That's awesome.
Welcome to the world. little tiny patriot. But this whole baby routine, goo goo gaga, I can't walk, not going to cut it. We're in a fight for our lives right now. Get active, get after it, make a Twitter account, start tweeting at.
Wrap it in a bulletproof blanket like Riley Gaines.
Yeah, exactly.
It's go to the protest.
Lock in, little one.
That's crazy,
wait, everybody. Another super chat from Matt FTL. He says, keeping the tradition going. I'm sitting in the recovery room with my wife and our first daughter.
Wow.
We have 2 boys and a girl.
This
welcome
is
to
very
the world,
white
little
pilling.
Patriot, welcome to the world again. We need you. Like, it's time. It's game time. Let's go time.
Skyline 99 says, laugh tracks work on low IQ people.
Works on me.
That was really funny.
I'm locked in now.
It's true, they do.
I need subtitles IRL and like Subway Surfers footage just playing in the bottom of my vision so I can really lock in.
Gen Z is so retarded
I know.
that they can't just look at a person's face as they talk. They have to watch Subway Surfer or like some video game.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild? So you know what I'm going to do for my morning show now? At least one of my segments I'm going to try out just playing video games while I record.
Yeah. That's,
And
I think that would work.
like
Yeah.
a lot of these.
Or just have like a TikTok. I don't know what they're called. Autoplay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like on the side. It's just TikTok videos.
That's a good idea. Can I do that?
There was this
I'm going
one-
to try that and see what happens.
There was this one YouTuber. His name was.
Besides skateboarding videos.
Just general interest.
There was this one YouTuber, his name was, I think it was Redeemed Zoomer, and he was like discussing these like really high level theological like ideas. Of course, no one's gonna like tune in if he's just like sitting there talking to the camera. But then he realized if he's playing Minecraft while he was doing it, then like a lot of these guys who otherwise would have never tuned in to like any theological discussion were like all of a sudden becoming like amateur theologians because they were watching him and the Minecraft was what engaged them. But then they were listening to him talk.
I'll just play poker. I'll play on Club WPT. I'll play some online poker while talking politics.
Yeah,
there you go.
And then people are watching, micro gambling.
That's the culture war. That's the culture victory. When you start getting, like you're saying, you brainwash people through getting them to let their guard down. Gaming.
I'm super good at trials. You guys ever play trials?
No.
Negative.
Is that motorcycle game?
Yeah. I'm like super good at it.
It's tough. That game's hard.
Yeah, so we just need to get Gen Z into that game so that I can play that while talking, because I could play that game forever. And just
any game, I think, where they can watch you just do stuff, repeat stuff, and they know the context of what's happening. They don't just see like a database of numbers.
That stream did quite well where you just dominated me and Andrew at Smash Bros for like an hour.
It didn't really, to be honest.
Yeah, but there was a lot of it did something.
What happened?
But it was a holiday. It was like 4th of July, and I was like, instead of there's no news, everyone's on vacation, let's just play Smash Brothers.
You were just mercilessly beating
us. I'm like, I don't know, C- at Smash Brothers. Like any new player is going to get crushed.
He's just trying to make me and Andrew feel bad.
Anybody who actually is good at the game would crush me in 2 seconds. But any average player who plays like casually, I'll probably destroy.
You obliterated me. I couldn't. I stopped playing you because it was just beating after beating. I'm like, dude, now I know how you feel when I play you in Magic. And then he bought a bunch of new cars, and I couldn't beat.
That's why we need like none of these.
Ian's making that
none
up.
of the consoles have Madden.
I always had good
If we had
cards.
Madden installed, I could finally feel good about myself. I could look at the.
You can just
play Halo.
You can just install.
Oh, I play Halo. Madden.
Yeah.
You can download the NASCAR game. Timcast has got 2 vehicles in it.
Love to play Madden.
Yeah, shout out to Cody Dennison.
Yo, if we could get a big crew, people playing actual Madden, and we're all on like the same team, and we're playing against
Yeah, 11 players.
That'd be wild.
I want to be QB.
Yeah, I'll play like right tackle.
You can be
right guard, dude. I
Just
just
on the
want
line.
not pancake dudes.
Yeah,
all right.
I love that.
I'll press.
That shows you have a servant's heart that you want to be a
Guard the nest.
you had the second dibs for whatever position you wanted.
I'll make them fast, but like so I can drop back and then you know knock them down from the side.
Love that.
Perfect.
All right, what do we got here? KS says, how come you haven't talked about the attack on 3D printing beginning in WA? Washington State is trying to get AI software forced onto printers and criminal charges anyone who has files for 2A items. Wow.
That's not good, man.
I think New York is saying trying the same kind of stuff.
You were? I called this in 2011 when they were talking about making it illegal to print guns. It's like, well, now when are they going to start going after the information? Because I have a machine at my house that I can do anything I want with in the privacy of my own home. So what, are you going to make it illegal to get the information of the schematic?
It's protected by the First Amendment to transmit information over the internet, right? It's protected by the Second Amendment to be able to make a gun. Like you can legally make, I think, 2 or 3 guns a year. You can send the serial number off to the feds if you want. It's perfectly legal to do all those things. The problem is that you can do this unmonitored with no regulation by the federal government. So,
David Bricken says, when are we getting a Tate Brown Holding It Grounds coffee blend?
ooh,
That's good. We didn't think of that.
that's really good.
I did, but I couldn't make it not cheesy. We got to use Tate Brown, holding it down, ground. Those 3 words of
Holding it grounds.
Well, the
Rounding it down.
my actual pitch for Tate's coffee was Tate Brown Blood and Soil.
I like that.
True heritage American.
Like
I have the Build a Butcher.
Like a red velvet coffee. We do that, you know.
No calories.
I think we
buy
can
it.
make it.
I'll send you a bag on
Thanks.
the side. It'll be like
As long as I don't have to buy it, you just send it to me for free.
Already compromising your beliefs.
Zoomerwaffen. Should we make a Nick Fuentes coffee for him?
that could be sure. That could be interesting.
I don't know if we can make any jokes about that right now. I'll have to wait for the uncensored portion.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you guys see there's a viral clip where it's like Fuentes is ragging on Hitler, and then all these lefties are like, Fuentes has abandoned Hitler or something?
No.
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
Fuentes is a nuanced mofo. That's
All right. We got K.S. Corey says, I can see Lindsey Graham clapping like a seal in a corner right now.
Yeah.
Well, I think the reason Lindsey Graham wants to invade Iran is because he's hoping that a new government would legalize gay marriage.
then it can finally come out.
That was a joke. Although maybe it wasn't.
You didn't play the laugh track, so I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Oh,
There it is.
That was good.
What's the deal with Lindsey Graham wanting
What's
to
the
go?
deal, Lindsey Graham? Are you gay or not? Maybe he's just from South Carolina. They were kind
He's
of
just a dandy.
They're a little light in the loaf. No offense to South Carolinians. I'm a North Carolina heritage person. They're a little light in the loafers when you go south of the border, you know?
Here we go. We have Captain Winky says, sorry, Tim, I designed interiors for private jets. These were 737-100s with sofa crescendas, with TVs, crescendas, hot tubs. You just haven't been in one, bud. I am fully and keenly aware. That being said, when you go to an FBO or like I flew out of Chicago, and there was I can't remember which it was a basketball team that had flown, and they had a 37. These are large corporate, teams, and they are few and far between. Most of the time when you go to an FBO, like if you go to Teterboro in Jersey, you might see some G4s, you might see some like Learjets, Gulfstreams, things like that. The average, bro, I'm telling you, like, people who have money don't just burn money. That's why they have money. They fly on private jets because they're like, no, I don't care about a hot tub on my plane. It's like Amber was saying, these pro ballers will be like, I'm going to burn $500,000 right now for no reason, and then they go broke real quick. Certainly these things exist. Likely charters. The other thing too is like mega yachts. Guys, they're like, oh, Bezos owns a yacht. Yes. The ultra rare, billionaires do have yachts. They are very, very rare. Most of the mega yachts you see are charters. We did a party on it was like an 80-footer or something in Miami. I can't remember. We've done it numerous times. And it's like $5,000 for 6 hours. And so with 20 people on board having a party, it's actually not that expensive to go out into the ocean on a big yacht and film this stuff. But the other thing I want to point out too is most of these videos you see, you guys know that the private jets are rented out for video production.
Yeah.
You'll see a dude in a private jet and they're like eating a nice meal and it's got the jacuzzi or whatever's in it and it's not flying. And you don't know that. There was one woman who walked off a private jet smiling in slow motion and she put on her profile, except the engine cover was still on. Mm-hmm. And so regular people don't know what that means. Everybody else was like, yeah, that's like a stationary, that jet is not going anywhere.
They also started creating actual sets of private jets for influencers to take pictures on. But I have an intrusive thought question, which is what happens to the hot tub when there's turbulence?
There are turbulence is for a lot of planes. I'll put it like this. How many planes have you been on where you've had severe turbulence? It's
what do we
not
define as severe?
Nothing that's going to disrupt a hot tub.
Like where it drops,
Yeah, that's increasingly rare. The worst. I used to fly twice a week. From 2014 to 2016, I was literally on 2 or 3 planes every week. And I only experienced serious turbulence one time. And it was in New Zealand from Wellington to Auckland. We dropped like 100 feet and the women were all screaming and the men were dead silent.
Yeah. I've done plenty of flying myself for, being in a band.
I just feel like the water would.
I've never seen any kind of serious turbulence.
I'm going to say this again. flew on a billion. So
See what I'm saying?
I know this guy who's a billionaire.
It's physics.
And he's like, I got a private jet. We're going to be flying into New York if you need a ride. And we were like, yeah, let's go. It was me and a few other people. And it was cramped, decently comfortable, private jet, no food. They had a basket of pre-made deli sandwiches. And I was like, nah, I'm okay. I don't need it. And
That's really nice.
no internet. And it's a pretty tight space. These people aren't just like, well, why not spend $500,000 on a 747? They just don't do it. Now, basketball teams, when they're transporting the entire team, again, calculate the cost of getting the team safely from point to point. And I was in Chicago, and I can't remember which team it was, but they had a 737 docked at the FBO at Signature. And the guys there were like, yeah, it's going to be here for about a week because they're playing several games. And this is how they travel. They have and the side of the plane said the team's name on it. You're going to go on there, and it's going to be pretty nice. It's going to have like private rooms, but it's for a team of people and their staff. So it's still like, you know, but you can watch videos of like the jet that Taylor Swift has. She has two. She had a big one and a small one. Ultra wealthy people do have very nice things. However, again, most of the time you see these things, it's fake because you know who Taylor Swift is when she has a plane. The other thing I'm going to stress is they charter their planes out, meaning, look, not anybody can just get one. But if you're like your average, let's say you're a YouTuber and you're making $500,000, $600,000 a year. What are you really spending your money on, right? So let's say there's a 27-year-old dude. He's making $500K on YouTube. It's good money. It's great money. Okay, so he's pulling about $40K per month. And let's say he's running his own business, so his taxes aren't coming out per paycheck. He actually pays taxes quarterly. So 1 month he gets 40 grand. He calls a charter company and says, I want to spend $40,000 on a private jet right now, and I'm going to film on it, and then I'm going to make a video of me on my private jet. He then gets a 37 for a short trip where he's got all these amenities. It's a one-time thing, and that's the end of it. And this guy's not even an ultra-wealthy person. He's just upper class. So again, that's my point is it's typically fake. The ultra-wealthy people I know rarely do lunatic things like this. Again, Bill Gates betting $20. Don't get me wrong. Dana White famously bets $500,000 on baccarat and blackjack. That exists too. I'm not saying it doesn't. All right, everybody. We're going to go to the uncensored portion of the show over at rumble.com/Timcast IRL. So smash that like button, share the show with every person in your life that you care about. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Amber, do you want to shout anything out?
Yes. If anyone knows what happens to the hot tubs during turbulence, please hit me up. I'm on X at Amber Marie Duke and on Substack at State of the Day. Thanks.
I know what it is, Amber. I can tell you what happens to hot tubs on turbulence. They have what's called internal baffling, where there's partitions inside the tub that reduce the wave motion, similar to a fuel tank.
Fantastic.
There's also, they keep the levels filled, or the low levels of the water. They cover it with lids, and if there's going to be turbulence, they'll get people out generally, but they also are pretty rare. But
engineering is amazing.
Yeah, aircraft stabilization, man. Hey, by the way, check out graphene.movie, speaking of all that, and go check out this new documentary I'm building, graphene.movie. 6'7" Kevin, man, he's producing it. The guy's amazing. So his work is incredible. The trailer's up right now. You can put in your email address and then join the mailing list. It's graphene.movie. Tate Brown.
Yes. Follow me on X and Instagram at Real Tate Brown. And tune in to the Timcast Noon live show Monday through Thursday on, what's at noon? It's in the name, on Rumble. I'll see you guys there.
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. The band is All That Remains. You can check us out at allthatremainsonline.com. We're going on tour this spring with Born of Osiris and Dead Eyes. We start in Albany on April 29th. Get your tickets at allthatremainsonline.com. You can check out our music at Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, YouTube, Spotify, or Deezer. Don't forget, the left lane is for crime. Carter.
You mogged me. Shout out 6'7" Kevin. Worked on Sin Frontier with him. Great guy. Fun fact. Today, I think it was 3 years ago, we had shot the Bright Eyes music video.
Wow.
Below us.
Yeah, before it was complete.
Yeah. So you should check that out. It's at Timcast Music. Follow me at Carter Banks everywhere. Follow our label Trash House Records on YouTube, everywhere else. And yeah.
All right, everybody. We'll see you all at rumble.com/Timcast IRL in about 30 seconds. Thanks for hanging out.